Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to WillStewartTHFCRants. Do not adjust your screen. I am Cody Mack, here to host as we discuss everything Tottenham and probably a little bit to do with the Champions League as well, as Chelsea wins the Champions League just when you thought life couldn't get any worse. Life got worse, but welcome to the show, everybody. Let's have a good one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go down.
Joining me now, Mr. K, and Eugene of Persuasion TV. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm using
hi.
a different headphone set. I hope it works out fine. Let me know if the audio is fine.
I'm definitely getting a little bit of feedback, Mr. K.
No problem.
So maybe just mute when you're not talking. We do have somebody else in the back end, first-time caller, Harrison Bates. Welcome to the stream, young man. How are you?
I'm good.
Where are you calling
Hi,
from?
Harrison. Welcome.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. What time is it there? Must be, 11 a.m.?
It is 2:05 in the afternoon.
Right on. Well, why don't we start by, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to support Tottenham?
Well, my cousins, they do, and they are from England, so I basically just followed their path.
Okay, and how long have you been supporting them for?
Since about 7.5 years.
Good for you, I think. I mean, it doesn't seem to be a very good thing right now supporting Tottenham. It seems like every day we seem to get worse and worse news. But did you happen to watch the Champions League final today?
Yeah, I watched it live.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I wanted City to win because obviously it's Chelsea. So.
Yeah, it's kind of pick your poison, really. I mean, I know that Chelsea are the Chelsea scum and that we're supposed to hate them with a passion, but Manchester City are just as bad in my eyes, just the two very worst clubs that could have made the Champions League final, in my opinion. But yeah, it was a bad one. Not a very entertaining game either. I just don't know how much worse it can get as a Spurs fan right now. I don't even want to hypothesize how it can get worse because it seems like every time that we think things can't get any worse, they do. But I do want to take a couple seconds to welcome some people into the chat. We've got AK Gaming, Island Life, Todd K. Thank you for gently punching the like button. Eugene in the comments and in the show. Lionel Messi, the GOAT. Joe Lombardi, good evening from sunny Hertfordshire. 3 a.m. now. Yeah, I don't know if you're just sleep deprived or if you're a hardcore fan of the channel, but either way, welcome. Awesome. Link is in the chat, buddy. If you just scroll up, I'll post it once in a while. I don't have the ability to pin it since I'm not signed in on the YouTube channel. And Alex Burleton as well. I do want to take care of some business because I always seem to forget this. We do have Patreon. You can find that on the YouTube page. We've got 8 members now who are paying to help us provide this content for you. Spartan 7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, Mama Coates, Celery Agent, AG, Goguma, Tony Go, and Alex Burleton. So to those people, we say thank you very much. But I just want to go around and get some thoughts about the Champions League final. Mr. K, what did you make of it?
On my days, I enjoyed watching it. I mean, as a neutral, I enjoyed watching it. It's like them going backwards and forwards, City constantly flopping it, Chelsea constantly having open goals, and Werner proving what a flop he has been this season. I mean, honestly, how many chances did that boy get this whole season? Apart from the fact they won it, I would have thought, you know what, if they didn't win it, they would have come hunting for like Kane or something. But now they won it, they're going to say, hey, that's cool. We've got good boys. City, on the other hand, oh my days. How many chances did they have to square it? And it was just unbelievable. I thought, you know what, Kane. Is my microphone okay?
It's kind of cutting in and out, Mr. K. Maybe we'll, if you want to try and sort that out, we'll get Eugene's thoughts on the Champions League final. Eugene, what did you think? Chelsea are champions of Europe for the second time in their history, beating Man City, who had made the final for the first time. They finally got to the finals and couldn't get it over the line. What are your thoughts on what transpired earlier today or yesterday in your case?
Honestly, Cody, didn't watch the match. Don't care, because either way, we're screwed. Happy for Chelsea to win it. But I think this will trigger M City. I think they will either go for Haaland or Kane, right? So for a proven product, I think they'll go for Kane. So not looking too good for us now. And we still can't even get a bloody manager in. So let's watch and see.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get on to the manager search at some point.
Yeah.
I do want to welcome to the show. I don't know if you're ready to join the chat. You've muted your mic, but DJ THFC, welcome to the show. If you're ready to contribute, let me know your thoughts on the Champions League final.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? I'm watching from Toronto. So, and I watched the Champions League final today, and all I can say is it was a great game. Just gutted that Chelsea won. I mean, obviously, I don't want any teams to win, but like Chelsea's a London rival, and they're gonna be rubbing it in our face for I don't know how many years from now. And I actually go to a school where there's a lot of British guys, and
Sorry, Marcelo's showing off his merch. This is a shirt that he got from the THFCRants store. So, and it's themed in his name. So I'm telling you, bro. How you doing, Marcelo?
I'm telling you, bro. That's how I'm doing.
Did you watch the Champions League final?
Yeah, of course. It was actually a good match. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't. If I'm going to be honest, both teams, who cares? They both bought their way into relevancy. So I don't really care. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I was surprised how little it didn't hurt watching Chelsea win that title. That didn't. Honestly, watching Arsenal win the FA Cup hurt a bajillion times more. Do
you think that had something to do with the... Harrison, your mic's going. I'm just gonna mute you for now, bud, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm just wondering. I saw you tweet that earlier today about Arsenal's FA Cup win being more painful, and of course, in terms of like London rivals, of course, Arsenal are the more hated of the two. But that's Chelsea's 17th major trophy in the last 20 years, and I'm just wondering, is it partly because the state of the club compared to when Arsenal won the FA Cup? I mean, we were in much better stead at that point. Maybe we were more expectant that we would be on the winning side of a trophy instead of Arsenal. Like, is the fact that we're a complete and utter mess right now as a club, the fact that more fans are feeling more disconnected than ever, is that playing into why people just aren't giving a shit that Chelsea just won the Champions League?
Cody, if you saw that final, you see parts of the quality that Chelsea showed was what you need if you want to get towards the later stages of any competition, is that people are willing to put their body on the line. The number of times when there was some good footings, some good crackings. I mean, when they took De Bruyne out, that was just a show of strength there. It's like, bang, you're out. If there was a while when, I think 4 years ago, when we had that type of defense, they'll put their bodies on the line, they'll block things out. And you need that if you're making a run. So I think what's happened is that you need to have that as a backbone in any team. And at the same time, you need to have flashed out midfield, that know how to get the ball, pass it on, and slow down play. And we're missing those two elements. We can have all the firepower at the front, but we're missing those two basic elements, a solid midfield and a defense that can put their body on the line. So that's what I think, if you got all three, then you're winning a league.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I probably was more interested in the EFL playoff final today, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it live. But I did go back and rewatch at least the first half, and I don't know. It just we've been so discombobulated on the pitch here for as long as I can remember this season that watching other teams play football just makes me jealous. Like Brentford's counterattack that led to the 2-0 goal today.
Brilliant.
That was brilliant football. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Harry Kane's goal against Arsenal to put the first North London derby away. That's how quickly that counterattack happened. That one long pass from inside their box sent everybody off and running. But man, I think it's just so hard to watch other teams have these moments where it's so clear. It's so clear that they've got 11 players rowing in the same direction, a manager that's beating the drum in the right way, and a connection between club and fan base that is something that we can only envy right now, as opposed to replicate. It's just really, really tough watching. Even going back to like Leicester City's FA Cup win, it's just, man.
Let me ask you this, Cody: is Brentford a better team than us on paper?
No.
Is Brighton a better team? Is a better team than us on paper?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. You know
Is
what?
Leeds?
I think
No. Is Leeds a better team than us on paper?
they play better as a team. They do.
Exactly.
I mean, we rely so much on individual brilliance for our creation and for our scoring. It's really clear that we haven't been connected as a unit on the pitch probably since a year and a half before Poch went. Like a year before Poch went, maybe. We kind of stumbled our way into that Champions League final. Yeah.
But the thing I was trying to get into is all those teams are not better than us on paper. They don't have better talent than us on paper. But what do they do that this team doesn't do? They don't have the desire to play for the badge, right? Well, they have the desire to play for the badge. They want to win. They have a strong mentality, and they do the basics. That, what you saw from Brentford, all those four things. And that's why you're jealous. Because when you watch Tottenham, you don't see any of that. You only see that from 2, maybe 4 players. The rest are all fucking, losers walking in the pitch, and no ballet. Oh, I lost the ball. I don't feel like running back, though. Oh, I don't have the ball. I don't feel like running. And then people tell me, Marcelo, you're too harsh. You're too harsh, right? But then you go watch these other games and you're jealous by teams doing the fucking basics. And then people are telling me I'm harsh because our players can't do the basics of football. It's embarrassing, man. Half of these players need to go.
Let's parlay that into the question of the day here. I mean, obviously, there's been swirling rumors all week about the possible return of Maurizio Pochettino. I personally am not sold that this is going to happen on one end. I'm also not sold that it's the right move for the club at the time, nor is it the right move for Maurizio Pochettino. But Marcelo, I haven't really heard your take on all these rumors. What are your thoughts on the potential shock return of Poch?
Personally, I never thought he should have been sacked in the first place. Well, I was one of the people that asked him for be sacked. All right, I will admit that I was wrong. He obviously shouldn't have been sacked. But look, if he comes back, he's gonna have to Levy is gonna. It doesn't matter who the manager is, right? Well, to a certain extent, right? We want a manager that obviously we can trust to do the job, right? If we give him the money, like a Conte, Pochettino, or Ten Hag, are all 3 managers I trust giving a lot of money to, right? But the difference is the board. The board needs to change. If they bring back Pochettino and he says, "I need this, I need that, and I need this," just give it to him. Just give it to him.
I agree, but it begs the question why they couldn't have done that with Jose as well. I think people are forgetting. I mean, it's one thing. Like, obviously, we've been a mess now for I don't know, 6 months at minimum. But I think people are forgetting how bad things got under Poch at the very end.
No, it got bad.
And the question that I would pose to people is, what has changed from the time when Poch got sacked to now? And the answer is not a whole lot. There's been a little bit of player turnover, not very much, not nearly enough.
Gotten worse.
We've gotten worse, yeah. And there's basically just been a lot of bad things happen since Poch left. So we're in a worse spot now than when he left, and we're begging to bring him back when it wasn't working. So,
but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Cody. Was all those things going bad his fault?
No.
Was it his fault?
No,
I don't think it was.
Of course
and
not.
I think if we're actually going to do a rebuild, right, and Levy actually has real intentions of doing rebuild, I would be glad to bring Pochettino in. Give him the money, let him choose the players, offload the deadwood, and let him rebuild again. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you trust him? I would. I would 100% trust him.
I would trust Poch, but the problem is I wouldn't trust Levy to let him do it. You know, I think we can. Maybe not all of us would agree on that. I seem to be getting increased blowback on Twitter for my anti-Levy tweets lately. But
I thought
the thing is, how, like, what kind of assurances can you write into a contract where Pochettino is going to be given the keys to the Ferrari? You know what I mean? Is this going to be another gentleman's agreement like the one that he had with Kane? I really don't. I think Daniel. Sorry, we're getting a little bit of feedback. Daniel Levy is in a precarious situation right now. A situation in which a man with his manipulative characteristics will do anything and say anything to save his own skin, save his own name. He would make all these promises to Poch, I think, that he would eventually break and find reasons to break them. I don't know where he would be able to promise all this, this transfer war chest and Euros start in 10 days. Okay, it's literally, if we gave up Jose Mourinho for Lent, we'd be able to go back to him at this point, because it's been 40 goddamn days since we sacked Jose Mourinho, and we're sitting here a rudderless ship with no direction and nothing but rumors to go by. So every day that goes by that we don't get something done as a club is another day that we fall behind our competitors. Really, that's the end of it. But
the thing is, Cody,
if you're there, I want to get some thoughts from you as well. But go ahead, Marcelo.
I was just gonna say, Cody, but then even then, with the whole thing, whether we trust Levy or not, then then there's no point getting any manager. Like, if you don't trust Levy to back a manager, you think Conte is gonna come in and be like, oh, it's okay, Levy, it's all right, let's just not spend anything this summer. Let's just stroll around, have a grand old time with Dele Alli, not win anything. You think Conte is going to want to do that? Hell no. Think Ten Hag is going to leave Ajax, one of the best academies, and be like, it's okay, I want Eric Dyer. I want to play with him. I want to develop Eric Dyer. I want to develop Harry Winks. I think he's a really top player. Ben Davies, my goodness, what a baller. You think he's going to say that? No. It's going to be like, I need a new center back. I need a new right back. I need this. I need that. I need a new attacking midfielder. Like,
I think the reason that I am a little bit reticent about Poch is because of all the managers that we've been linked to, he is the one that would turn people, kind of satisfy them. People would just be like, oh, Poch is back. Yay, everything is okay again. And I really don't think that that's the case.
Yeah,
but why don't we go around and just get everybody's thought on whether or not you would take Poch back, and just your general thoughts. Eugene, what do you think?
Poch now, I think it's too early. Imagine he left when he left the time the deadwood was there, and if he's coming back, the deadwood is still there. So, like I said, we can trust Poch, but do we trust Levy to do the right thing? That's the only thing. And if Levy does the right thing and maybe get a DOF first to prove that he wants to change, right? But even if he can get a DOF, the trust levels for Levy is not there anymore. The Poch appointment, or the news of the Poch appointment, I think it's just sort of smoke and mirrors again, right? Like a lot of people saying the season tickets are coming up. The fans want a name that they love. So maybe it's another PR ploy, as I see it, right? But Poch, I think he might want to leave PSG because there might be something nefarious going behind the scenes in PSG, like Neymar having his problems and Mbappe wanting to leave, right? But the thing is that all the big teams now, let's say Barca and Juventus and Real Madrid, they don't have the money to buy the players, right? But the Premier League teams still have the money to buy the players. But let's see who they go for. For us, manager-wise, I'm afraid we might end up with Eddie Howe.
Oh,
What do you
man.
think? He didn't want the Celtic job, bro. You understand?
I know.
Why
I
don't
know.
you take the Celtic job? So I'm getting quite skeptical. Not even Potter. We might end up with you know who. Name I said just now, which I'm going like, oh my god. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Okay, so what, Harrison? What are your thoughts, if you're still there, about Maurizio Pochettino? The rumors surrounding his shock return. Do you think it's something that has substance? And if you're not there, DJ THFC. Anyone else just wants to jump in? Harrison.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, sure. Everybody.
I'm gonna say this anyway. You guys have to give me some time to express if I'm gonna rant or whatever. But this is what I'm gonna say. I don't know. Hey, I might offend some people with what I'm about to say, but there's a reason why I'm saying this. We Tottenham fans are losers, and we are accepting Levy using PR to support losing. I don't know how we gonna be supporting losing. This is the only club I know when people are supporting losing. I mean, how can you be supporting losing? And this is what I'm gonna give a round of applause to Frank Lampard, because you know why? Frank Lampard was the only one who could see through that Chelsea needed reform and started with the youth. And it started with the youth while they are saving money. They were banned. Remember, guys, they were banned for 2 seasons, and they saved a lot of money. And after saving a lot of money, they used that money. He used that money to buy German players, and those German players. That's why I'm telling you right now. You're gonna play this recording years later from now. Even people who haven't seen it later will watch it back later and hear me that say Germany is gonna win the next World Cup, Olympic for the next century, because these are their players showing who they are. The defense in Chelsea is run. The leader in the defense is a German. The 2 strikers are Germans. I mean, back in the days, you used to call them German machines because this is how they operate. They are very fast. They go fast. They operate. The coach is the German. I'm just being reality check here, but we are here celebrating sentimental. Olivia's Poch is going to come back. He's not going to come back. The only reason why the players in France are having problem with him because Poch demands excellence, perfection, because he always wants them to train 3 times a day. That is why some of the players in Tottenham was having problem with him, and they decided to. These are the same players that got rid of Poch. Why would you want him to come back and say, "Hey, support me back"? They got rid of him. They stopped playing for him. And we are sentimental. Oh, when he comes back, they'll become the best. It's all a sentimental PR. When he comes back, it's going to get rid of all of them. In the first place, when he first came, he got rid of all the Adebayos and stuff, right? You guys remember that? And brought his own players in. And these same players gang up together and get rid of him. And now you're expecting. And I told you guys from the get-go, when I first started coming on this channel, I said, you cannot go wrong with a perfect formation. Listen, this is what you need. Investment plus good ambition players plus good formation will give you Champions League. This is what you got. That is what they did, and that's what you got the result. When in a situation whereby you didn't invest, you don't have players who have ambition, the formation is out of whack, and now you are expecting Premier League winner. Or you have, and the ambition of the club is top 4. Now we are moving to the ambition of the club is just get Europa League, just get Europa League. Now it's just get to Conference League. That's all we require. If you come as a coach, all we expect just get to conference. Don't even get to top 4, just get to conference. Then the fans will just appreciate you and celebrate. Oh, we are good. We are not. I'm betting you. Kane is not going to sit around to want to be playing in Conference League when he sees this. And as we speak, Chelsea has already inquired about buying Kane. With what happens today, definitely there's going to be a pressure on Guardiola to definitely buy Kane. With what happens today, that has given a reality check on them. They need a striker. They didn't even play a striker. They play first 9. So guys, I'm just being honest. I'm sorry to come out and say this, the reality check, which everybody was like being sentimental about. You cannot be sentimental around this. This is the most upsetting thing in the world. To be watching that you are the one copying. This time 5 years ago, we were the one playing. We were versus. We were the one versus. To a situation whereby now we are playing conference league and we are happy, excited. No. I refuse that.
Yeah, to be fair, I think a lot of Spurs supporters are pretty disillusioned with what the direction that we're going and the position that we are in the table.
I refuse to accept that. I refuse. Everybody say, what I want is Premier League winner. That's my. If you will not Premier League winner, I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting top four. I'm not accepting top four. I refuse to accept top four. I refuse. I don't care what anybody say. I refuse. If we are not winning Champions League, I refuse. If you can't get Tim Ogg here, or you cannot get Kante here. Even Kante is the highest spending coach. So if you bring him here, you have to spend. If you bring him here, don't spend, you don't get anything. You cannot get anything out of him. Because
we just made that same mistake with Jose. But before we get too far off, I do want to get everybody else's thoughts on Pochettino specifically. So Harrison, if you're still listening, if you want to unmute and give us your thoughts on whether you think Pochettino coming back is a good idea, if it's a bad idea, if it's just hearsay, or DJ THFC or Marcelo.
I don't think it's a good idea. At least, actually, from a Spurs point of view, I think he's our best option at the moment. Because let's look at it realistically. What kind of Spurs manager would want to come? I don't think Poch would want to come either, because he already knows Levy. He knows Levy doesn't invest in the right things. He knows Levy doesn't listen to him. And in terms of if I'm looking at it from his perspective, I'm saying mediocre squad. I'm not going to be backed. Why would I come back? I'm at a PSG team where I know we spend. I know we're going to get some kind of reinforcement. I'm going to get some kind of backing. I'm going to play Champions League football every year. I'm going to win trophies no matter what, pretty much. I wouldn't come back if I was Poch. But if I'm looking
I think there's a couple of things at play. I mean, if Poch comes back, you have to assume that there's been concessions and promises made in terms of the tools that he's going to be given to do his job and the power that he will wield. It will be greater than when he left. But also, another thing that to be considered, Poch's family is also still living in London. Poch is living out of a hotel in France. And the other thing is, apparently he has been taken aback with the way that the inner workings of PSG are how they are, and that to me that's terrifying. If he's looking to come back to Tottenham because of the inner workings of PSG has taken him aback. I mean, pray for the inner workings of PSG if that's the case. But there could be other things at play. Who knows?
If Cody, I've been looking at this thing and I've actually managed to get some decent sleep on it as well. And if you listen around and you kind of hear the rhetoric that's been going around, there's some telltale signs. One of them is, there comes a point at which the lie becomes apparent, and that's when you start hearing little things like PSG are holding Poch to contract. And it seems to me, when you hear that, you think, okay, now the game's up. Negotiation tactic, 18-month contract, one extended by another year. That seems quite apt. And basically, PSG now, summertime, need to come in and say, okay, we got you for 2 years, not the next 12 months. Do you understand? So having this play with Spurs, it's smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors, unfortunately.
Okay.
For us to hope that Poch comes back, come on, it's too much. I think right now it's a case of if he comes back, I don't know. If Levy pulls that one out of the bag, good on him. It seems like that seems to be his only shield against the fan. Because right now, as Awesome said, for us to be accepting where we are and not to say it's a failure, then obviously that's not being a fan of what we've been for the last 5 years, right?
Yeah,
what we've had to go
for
through.
Sure.
For sure. Bell coming in, for example. So that's my 2 pence on it.
Perfect. Harrison, if you're there, let us know what you think. Do you think Poch is coming back? Do you think it's a good idea? What are your thoughts?
I think it's quite a good idea but that's Levy's good option, but I don't really have much thoughts on it. But we did win the Audi Cup for them, and well, that's everything basically. I'm not too sure about it. He could go to Real Madrid. I just was reading Football London, but Conte, he won't be that good. I don't really know much about that statement.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I think
Yeah.
one of the things that has to be considered is how long of a project we are at this point, because I feel like the issues that we have at this football club are not issues that can be solved this summer. So if we bring Poch back, right? Like the average lifespan of a Premier League manager is something crazy like 14 months. And we have been through, I don't even know how many managers since Daniel Levy took over. And that includes a long spell where Poch was successful over 5.5 years. So we hire and fire managers just as often as the worst clubs in the Premier League. And I think that has a detrimental effect on the development of our tactics from the youth academy forward. There's like a lack of ethos, a development of ethos when you're constantly having managerial turnover. So because if Poch comes back and the first year doesn't go very well, are we going to be sacking him? Because I honestly think that if we're looking at 3 years before we become seriously competitive again, like even thinking about competing for a Premier League title. That's the size of the job. Marcelo, what do you think about that? Okay. Anyone feel free to just jump in with your thoughts on that?
Well, if you wanted to ask for basically, if there's anything that Levy could do to down our expectations for the next 3 years, and that would be to bring Poch back and say, okay, there you go. You got 3 years to build it up. Come into 7th, 6th, 5th for about 2 years. And if you can hit the top 4, then bang, fantastic. You're building something. The fans would be happy with that, I think, go along with it. And basically it means that Levy doesn't have to spend out for something to say hit first, as Orson was saying. Look, at the end of the day, if there needs to be a change, it's not just a change in manager. It's also a change in how the operation, the machinery works behind the scene. Number one, if you don't have a director of football, then you don't have someone exclusively thinking about the development, the style, the football approach, the type of managerial approach that you would take to getting a manager in, right? How would the youth setup would be working, how they'd be in unison with the under-23s going into the first squad, how the loan system would be working as well. So in order to have that in place, you have to have a technical director underneath them, right? Unfortunately, Levy occupies both positions. Technical directors are very fundamental if you're going to have a director of football, because they stitch in themselves between them and how the rest of the organization works in terms of employing the right people to do the jobs. You don't just have a linkage. You also have to employ those right people. And you have to have that infrastructure knowledge in your head that you're making this machinery. Levy doesn't have those two positions. He tries to operate it himself. And that is unfortunate, not is how you operate a top 6 club. It becomes Mickey Mouse. Anyway, that's
to tell you the truth. Yeah. To tell you the truth, our problem is that our aim is always top 4, right? Our aim should be higher. If we want to be a big club, we should go for the Premier League, like what Awesome said. If you go for the Premier League, right, no matter how bad you will do, you will end up somewhere in the top 4. If you have the correct players, the correct manager, the correct management, right? But the problem is that the DNA of our club now is top 4. And whenever we can't make top 4, we make it straight through into Europe, oh, we're all happy. So that DNA has actually filtered down to the fans. And us fans for the past 20 years have accepted this kind of scenario that's been going on in the club. But since now you brought Poch in, we reached the finals of the Champions League. The fans all of a sudden had bigger expectations, correct? But that didn't match what Levy wanted to do. Maybe he just wanted to get top 4 and get the money. Get top 4 and get the money, build his stadium. But now you have such a big and beautiful stadium. Are you just going to go for top 4 only? Aren't you supposed to go for the Premier League? Go for the Champions League? Do something like what Pep has. I want a quadruple, which has never been done before. But disappointingly, Pep this year has, I think he will consider it a failure year again because he didn't get his Champions League. Which comes back down to, right, how is he going to improve the team now to get to the Champions League and win the Champions League final? Correct? He's got what he has already shown in the Premier League. He whipped everybody after, the last, after the second third of the season. That's when MCT started to pick up. He whipped everybody, right? Tactically, mentally, and he put a fear in there. For us, we were there at the top in the first third of the season, and we collapsed. Why? Because Levy didn't support Jose. Simple as that. Whoever you bring in now, Levy said in his matchday announcement in the program, we have to get back our DNA. So what is our DNA? Right? Is our DNA a winning club? Is our DNA just being satisfied? You must understand, a lot of the DNA is us fans. If us fans accept the mediocrity, sorry, my language. The mediocrity that we have now, then we'll be there. We'll be there. Just accept that being there, right? Don't go and cry and moan and this and that, right? Accept it. If you don't accept it, show your voice. You're not accepting this shit now. That's all. But like I've been saying, we are deluded. Remember, I put out in our rants chat. We are deluded, and we have Stockholm syndrome, and we're enjoying the torture. Maybe all of us are just BDSM fans in the back.
Okay, I find this comment interesting, and I feel like it is bang on. William McKenzie here. We stood still back during Poch's prime while other teams improved, and we're suffering the consequences now. But this last 3 words in this statement, need new leaders. I want to know what some of your thoughts are on this, because I feel like we don't have a good core group of leadership in that dressing room. I think that's been on display all of this season. And it really, I mean, Lloris has been captain for how many years, and it just hasn't really worked. Marcelo, what do you think about the leadership factor in this football club?
Well, it's not just leadership. We need a new mentality in these players. I'm starting to question whether these players even want to win, or even have the desire to win. You got Eric Dyer saying he had a good season. Even Lucas Moura now came out and said he thinks he had a good season. Okay, Lucas might have had a decent season, but you didn't win any trophies, Like, you asked that about any top player, right? Who didn't go win a season without winning a trophy, right? Would they say they had a good season? No. Imagine Roy Keane not winning a single trophy and say, I had a good season. No, you'll never hear that from him. It's just, we need a new mentality in these players, and that only happens by getting new players in. And, we need some leaders within the pitch. We need luckily we have Højbjerg in the midfield. We used to have a leader, Jan Vertonghen, in the back line, but now we don't have that anymore. So we need a guy that, hey, I'm here, leads by the example, and also isn't willing to, tell players what they need to do. Jose thought that was Eric Dyer, but the thing is, Eric Dyer, he can talk and talk and talk, but he doesn't lead by example. It's almost an alcoholic telling you not to drink. It's like, right. It's not, it's not the best, person you want to be leading your back line. Marcelo, we need people leading by example.
How long do you think that this mentality issue has been a problem at Tottenham Hotspur?
You see, the thing is, a lot of people will say, oh, it's been around for a long time. And I would agree some parts of it. I think when we went to the Champions League final, I think we went with the wrong mindset. I think we went with the mindset like, oh my God, guys, we're in the Champions League final. We actually did it, right? Instead of actually like, we're in the final. Now let's go win the fucking thing. You know, like instead of like Liverpool had that mindset, we didn't. But I think otherwise, I think we had a winning mentality for a good amount of time with Pochettino. It's just that we weren't good enough. That's what our fan base, you know, sometimes have a hard time admitting. You know, yes, we had a great squad, but we just didn't have enough players to win a Premier League. It's not just the starting 11. We had an amazing starting 11. It's also the bench. You know, like you look at every great team, you know, they have a bench. You know, Chelsea today was able to bring on Kovacic. You know, they're able to bring on Giroud if they need to. You know, like they're able to bring on some quality players. They brought in Pulisic, who brought some life into the game. You know, Chelsea were looking like they were in trouble, and they brought Pulisic on, and you know he kind of lively up Chelsea again, and and then. You look at City, like the same thing. You know, a good substitution. You look at Liverpool. You know, well, Liverpool, they still have some good substitutes, but you need a starting 11 and good substitutes. And unfortunately, under Pochettino, we just didn't have. You know, we were missing just a couple of elements to win a trophy. Just missing a couple elements. But I think we had a winning mentality. I don't think we had any business in being in that Champions League final. If we're being real, but we did that because we actually came in with a mentality that no, we can win. You know, we wouldn't have been City if we didn't come in with a mentality saying no, we can beat this team. We wouldn't have been Ajax. We wouldn't have been Dortmund. We wouldn't have gone out of that death group. You know, you remember Inter, Barcelona, PSV. That was a death group. But we showed mentality in those moments. So I think we've had a strive to win. It's just that we weren't good enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk about Antonio Conte, because obviously we've been heavily linked with him. Yeah. I'm not entirely sold that he is interested in coming here. He might just be using us as leverage to get the Madrid job or another interesting job. I do think that Conte is a great manager, but I almost feel like he falls into the same category of Jose Mourinho in terms of he may not play the brand of football that we want. And I don't want to put a brand of football above winning. I was all for Jose Mourinho as long as we were winning. You know, it became untenable at the end when we stopped getting results and the football was crap. But, you know, in the middle of November, in the middle of December, when we were top of the table, I don't think we were having too many complaints about the style of play considering the results that we were getting. But I don't know. If Conte comes in, I feel like it doesn't matter what manager comes in. We need a full rebuild here. That's the scale of the job. So would you trust Antonio Conte to take this project on? Any of you?
Can I answer that?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you. I've said about Conte before, and I'll tell you, I'm a masterpiece when it comes to Conte. The original owner was Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho's masterpiece 3-4-3 formation. Conte was the one that modernized it to be the best. The same game is what Brendan Rodgers played. The same game is what Tuchel played. That's what he's been playing since he got to Chelsea. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Conte plays 3-4-3 formation. He might remodernize it to be 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-1-2 or 3-5-2, but it all comes down to how they play is 3-4-3. It might be a 3-4-3 diamond, but that's how I play. But when he wants to play that formation, it requires investment, and that is nothing he can get from Levy. We can sit here and try to modernize how it works, but it's not something that it would work because there's no investment. You cannot play 3-4-3 when you don't have investment. And in 3-4-3, you have to constantly be running. There's no walking around when it's tracking back. Somebody is just strolling back. There's none of that. You have to keep running. That's how it works in the 3-4-3 formation. Because everybody, if somebody has the ball, your opponent has the ball, he has to have two people going to tackle for the ball, to take the ball. Here, we don't even have anybody going to tackle for the ball. They just let the ball go back and forth. And when I try to do like formation of how I would play 3-4-3 right now in this system right now. In the middle, I will have Oiborg and Stevie B side by side. Why? Because Stevie B is the kind of person that can score, that can attack, but at the same time is a tackle for the ball. The goal is scored against Aston Villa. If you look at it, it was on the right. He ran to the middle to take the ball while Ali was just strolling to the ball. That's why Ali was through passing after he took the ball and scored. Because Ali is not the kind of person that would attack the ball, that will try to take the ball back, that will try to also for the ball, that will try to take the ball. So you have to keep running. If you look at him if you go and watch the replay of him, you will see that he ran from the right all the way to the center to take the ball. And that's my take on that. If he has to be 3-4-3, that's what he plays, and it requires investment and constant running. If you look at all his game, he might play 3-5-2, he might play 3-4-2-1, but every game, even in Chelsea, while he was there, it was 3-4-3. Diamond. It might play regular, it might play straight. It still comes back to 3-4-3 eventually.
Okay. Let's talk about the implications of today's Champions League final result on the Harry Kane situation, because there's a couple of different ways that you can look at this, in my opinion. On one side, you've got Man City, who were clearly missing a clinical striker today to put the chance away that would have tied the game or perhaps given them a win. And on the other hand, you've got Chelsea, who they too don't really have a clinical striker. You know, you look at their top scorer this year, I forget who it is. Timo Werner hasn't exactly performed that well for them this year. He's been god awful, if we're being honest about it.
The fact that guy has a major trophy over Harry Kane,
so criminal.
It's so criminal. It is.
Yeah.
Man, Harry, honestly, if he leaves after watching today's game, you can't blame him, because he's looking at that and he's like, that Timo Werner guy is shit, and he has more trophies than I do.
Kepa has more trophies, for crying out loud, you know, it's such a crime. But let's just analyze this from the standpoint, do we think that this increases or decreases the chances that Harry Kane leaves in the summer? And who do we think has the upper hand? I know we don't want to really imagine Harry Kane in a shirt that isn't a Tottenham shirt, but especially picturing Kane in a Chelsea shirt turns my stomach. But the thing is, Chelsea have just generated a bunch of revenue from themselves. And if they decide that they want to use that money and other funds to bring in Harry Kane to solidify their position and have a solid go at the Premier League next season, I mean, this is a squad. This is an organization that just dropped 200+ million in the last summer transfer window, and you can't deny that it's paid off for them, considering that they're walking away with a major trophy in the Champions League.
They're going to win the Premier League.
What does it mean? Do you think that Harry Kane, is it more likely that he goes to Manchester City now, who will be that much more desperate to get themselves back to the Champions League final and over the line? Or do you think that Chelsea doubles down on what they've achieved this year and they go for Kane? What do you guys think about that? And we're just going to add Jason Groves too.
I think City is going to go for it more than Chelsea, just simply because even though Timo Werner has been poor, I don't see anything within the dressing room that says that Tuchel wants to get rid of Timo Werner. In fact, he's been playing Timo Werner almost every game, and he actually seems to like him. I think he fits Tuchel's system. And I think for Pep, what he is lacking when Aguero is gone is you can clearly see he is lacking that striker more than Chelsea. Because in my opinion, Chelsea are getting goals from many different people to where Tuchel, doesn't need to focus on just one striker. I think what Tuchel is going to need to focus on is maybe getting, some new midfielders. I think Jorginho might be on his way out. I think Kovacic has another season or so. But I think he's going to look for some new midfielders, and I think he's going to play that Kai Havertz and Timo Werner role where, Kai is almost like a false nine behind Werner. So No, I think it's going to be City that's going to be gun hoeing, especially after today's game. You know, they're going to be looking at that. I mean, damn! Imagine we had Harry Kane in that final.
That's right.
You know?
Can I ask Marcelo a question?
Go ahead.
Like, I'm just curious. Like, remember this statement you just said that it's more of City. You know, I said that when I first started. My first statement was that but where my concern is if they buy Kane, do you think that, because right now he has increased the money to 200 million, and let's say they say, okay, we're gonna definitely now, because there's gonna be pressure on Pep to buy Kane. If they give the 200 million, do you think Levy is gonna spend the whole 200 million on rebuilding?
What do you think my answer is going to be? You asked a question where you know already the answer, man.
Because I just want the fans to hear.
And then he's going
I
to
just
use
want the fans
price
to
of
hear
beer.
what you have to say
The better
about
chips to buy
that.
players.
Because people are like saying, "Oh, yeah." You know, they are supporting Levy right now, and I'm trying to look at. Okay, can you answer that question for the fans to know you ain't getting no money? I just wanted you to say that so they know. I just, you know, the fans has to hear this. You know, some people have to hear this. Like, really, he won't give no money, none of the money.
We sold Bale for a record transfer price at that time, and we literally bought 6 bums in Christian Eriksen. You know, we sold 6 of them. Only Christian Eriksen was the only buy that was anything worth of that Bale money. And you really think he's going to use that Harry Kane money properly? Like, the thing is, it's just like, you know, Levy, like, honestly, our fan base needs to get into Levy's head. You don't know what you're doing, man. You're so out of your depth. You don't know football. Get a DOF, get a manager, and just let them do the fucking job, dude.
Yeah.
You know, you handle the money. You handle the marketing. You handle that. You're good at that. Just stay in your fucking lane. You know, like, honestly, I think this guy might have brain damage. I think he, you know, he grew.
No, it's not brain damage. It's just his character.
Ego.
For 20 years, he's been running the club like that, right? For 20 years. And nobody has stepped up and say no to him for 20 years. Do you think he'll change? He won't change, right? Unless there's a big fan outburst that actually hurts him in his pocket, right? Then he might change. Might, not will. Might change, right?
Because so I hear when some
it all comes down to, in the end of the day, if the top is playing this game right, and the bottom has accepted it right, he will go on with it. And every time he will just throw out something there for us at the bottom there to run around and be excited about it. Run around and be excited about it while he's doing something else on the other end. We never know, right? So like I said, in the end of the day, if he's really a true fan of this, then we will have to see what is his next step. Because like now, pushing up Poch might backfire on him because he's built up that anticipation that Poch is coming back. If Poch doesn't come back now, right, what's going to happen to the rest of the fans? For us on this panel, most of us understand what's happening. That's less than maybe 0.00001%, correct? What about the rest of the fans out there? Then he will spin something out there again, and the fans at the bottom there will still go run around. Oh, we're excited again. Now it's not Poch. Now it's Conte, right? But we know whoever you bring in, like you said, if you don't meddle in the football side, we will do fine. And if you don't meddle in the football side, we won't blame you. Correct? But he's been meddling on the football side for 20 years. Do you think he's going to let it go? I don't think so. It's not going to happen overnight. Tell the truth. It's not going to happen overnight.
But just quickly before you retort, I want to address this comment from Will Stewart, THFCRants. Appreciate the comment. Thank you for subscribing. Like the stream if you don't mind. But we only really take these type of questions from BJ. So we'll have to move on. Go ahead, Asama. You let us know what you think.
I wanted to ask Marcelo another question, because the reason why I'm directing question to Marcelo is because the way Marcelo answers some questions sometimes is strategic compared to how we will answer it sometimes. I mean, I might have the idea or I might have the answer to it, but I like to ask him because when it comes to level of famous, when it comes to Tottenham, the way Marcelo would handle it would be different, because I might say something that might offend some fans. So Marcelo knows how to handle it. Even if
Marcelo doesn't care. He offends the fans.
I don't care. I
Marcelo doesn't care.
I could care less if I offend people.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry that I don't rate your God Ben Davies. That's gonna get a testimonial. I'm so sorry that I don't care whether Dele Alli bangs Pep Dorter or not. Oh, I'm so sorry that about his haircut. I'm so sorry that I don't care if Harry Winks makes 100 sideways passes, and I'm so sorry that Endon fat ass can't be fit for 2 seasons. 2 seasons. I'm so sorry that I criticize these players, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, But if anything, these guys need to be sorry to me, bro. They need to apologize to me because they shit on the badge every time they play. It's not fun watching Tottenham play these days.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, come
Because
on, let's
there's
be
no
real
accountability, Marcelo. You understand what I'm saying? Now? Our chairman doesn't take accountability. So do you think our players are going to take accountability? No.
Yeah.
He'll
Right?
probably
It all
buy
stems
another
from the bloody
6
top.
bottles.
But let's be real here, guys, right? We're all Tottenham fans. Most of us been following it for quite a bit. Maybe Cody's, I guess, a newer fan, but even Cody knows, there's the highs and the lows of being a Tottenham fan, and listen. There's been some shit. There's been some shit. I've seen AVB. I've seen Tim Sherwood. He was shit. Even sometimes under Harry Redknapp wasn't always fun.
Christian Gross.
Yeah, well, I wasn't around there. I started with Harry Redknapp. I was a little bit more I was luckier than you guys. I saw mostly some of the best of Tottenham, but I saw some shit. You know what I mean? And when you're a Spurs fan, you know like you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. There's gonna be ups and downs, right? But when you watch Spurs nowadays, it's just like even when we win, it's not even like, wow, guys, that was a great team performance. It's usually just like, holy shit, Harry Kane and Son just fantastic. It's always the same thing. It's like, oh my God, Højbjerg, Son, Kane just carrying us again. It's just there's no team, there's no fight for the badge. I remember under Redknapp, we used to sometimes finish 5th, 6th. We got then we got to the Champions League, right? But there was some real fight. That Redknapp team was not that much better than this team right here. But the difference is that team did the basics. They showed fight. They showed desire, a will to win, And even though whether they were good enough or not, you saw guys actually playing for the badge, doing the basics, and actually wanting to play football. And so you actually enjoyed it. But this season, even when we win, it's just like it's just because it's just because we just have 2 amazing players that just carry the slack. It's really, that's it. So there's no feeling that there's a team. There's no feeling that there's any real passion. There's no feeling there's any desire to win trophies. It's all, oh, look at my new haircut. Oh, I'm so saucy. I got the chain. I got the drip. All this, like that. That's all it is. Like, oh, I'm Harry Winks, look at me. I'm Mr. Euros, oh, fucking lad. I'm the captain of England, fucking running around with his little Tottenham stride. It's just, I can't stand it. I can't stand these players.
Do you think Harry Kane is a part of that problem, the individuality, as opposed to the team?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Harry Kane is not part of that problem. Listen, Harry Kane, if anything, has changed a lot of his game. He used to be, if you remember, Cody, a lot of the things a lot of people criticize Harry Kane for was that he used to be a poacher. He used to be kind of a guy that, would kind of like just, wait for, service, and, sometimes he'll be greedy and steal goals. now he's completely changed his game. Now he's, assisting guys. He's tracking back more than ever. He's trying to go deeper. He's helping out the defense more than ever. Like Kane is just like, he's trying his best, man. But like, for fuck's sakes, he the only player now he can look to is Sonny and
I agree.
Dale.
I agree.
You can't
Okay,
do
so
everything.
let me ask you this then, and anyone feel free to jump in with your opinion on this. Do you think that Kane damaged his relationship with his teammates through his interview with Gary Neville? Because there were moments in the Leicester City game where it didn't seem like it was the same, that there was any communication going on between Kane, especially when in between play. Kane was obviously out to get his golden boot, and I don't blame him on the last day of the season. But do you think that some players might have been taken aback from some of the things that he said in that interview?
Can I jump?
I think.
Yep.
Okay, go, Jason.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. All this comes back to the same thing. That's the same thing Marcelo is saying. That's the same thing Eugene is saying. We're all saying the same thing, and the same thing comes to we are celebrating sentimental. We should just stop celebrating sentimental. This is crazy.
Thank you.
We are celebrating sentimental.
You know what I was about to say,
Why?
Asama?
Absolutely.
You know what I was about to say, Asama? I was about to say, if those players watched that interview and all they took about it was, oh my God, Harry Kane, you're such a jerk, then they're the biggest pussies you will ever meet in your life. How fucking dare you look at that interview and say, you know what, Harry Kane is a jerk. How dare he criticize us? Are you kidding me? This guy's the only reason you're not in the fucking
we have too
championship.
many of
you
them.
fucking
This is the
scrub.
problem.
That's the
He's
reason
the only
why we
reason.
have relegation.
He's the only reason you're fucking relevant.
I think Kane, right, lost it after the Zagreb game,
Yes.
and he saw what. Yeah, after the Zagreb game, Kane lost it because I think he saw that the rest of the team weren't following his expectations.
Yeah.
Correct. And the nail in the coffin, right, was the second Jose. Because Kane was saying, right, Jose was planning for the cup. Jose wanted to win that League Cup for him.
I told you that.
Keep
I
him
said
satisfied.
And-
But the problem is that what Levy did, right, in the second Jose 6 days before the cup final, right, was his master stroke, right, to cover all the cracks. And somehow or another, I got a funny feeling is, right, Levy is protecting all this deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel that?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Why?
said that.
Yeah.
Because he was
Yeah.
requesting, he
Yeah.
was requesting that they need to play. That's what I'm saying. The first game after Jose led the first 3 games, the team was selected by Levy, not even by Ryan, because it was obvious.
Yeah, I know. I
And
saw
people started
that.
saying he's playing.
We all saw
He's
that.
playing his friends. It wasn't playing his friends. It was what the it's just following instruction. That's what Levy wants. Levy said, "Oh, I want you to play this."
And did you notice during the finals in the League Cup, during about 60 minutes or so, when Mason was doing his substitutions, they did a shot of Levy, right, texting, and the substitutions happened. Gosh, I was going, okay, this is going to be bad. And
But-
guess what happened?
But let's go back. Let's go back to those players, because in my opinion, right, like, if you're not looking at this season and you're not looking at Kane's comments and you're not looking at any of this and you don't feel any bit of disappointment, any little bit of failure, it's okay to feel failure.
Hello.
It's okay to fail. Hello, Jason. How we doing?
I've been trying to talk for the last 15 minutes. And
Bro,
didn't know
please
my
go
mic
ahead.
was
Off,
working.
Jason.
Please go ahead. We are so frustrated right now. Please go ahead. We need somebody to tell us better.
I just muted him for shits and giggles, but there you go, Jason.
Right? What a dick.
Come on.
Wow.
Okay, Jason, go ahead.
Just to backtrack. First of all, I don't think Levy would sell fucking Kane to Chelsea in a month for Sundays. Period.
Yeah.
Just, although he's the biggest dick in the world and I want him gone, he would not sell that player to Chelsea. Period. As far as Kane leaving, I think what happened in that final is going to put a rocket up City's arse, because Kane is the player they need. for
Yeah.
me. Like
Levy's just licking his little chops
fuck
there,
yeah.
thinking,
And as far as the money being spent, right? Will it fuck? No chance.
Good evening.
Absolutely no chance.
Jason.
good evening, Jason Reed. Tell us
Hello,
your
sir.
thoughts.
What are we talking about? The
We're
season.
talking about Harry Kane.
We're talking about
what-
Champions League winner. We lost. I felt like we are the one that lost today. Actually,
I think. Well, can you imagine? The question is, do you think City will make a move for him?
Yes.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
It's,
100%.
particularly after that drab of a freaking Champions League display from them. They were.
Even more than ever.
To
Are you
be
kidding me?
fair, Kane would have
100%.
scored a couple of goals for them today. He
Yeah,
would have.
more than ever. If I'm Pep Guardiola and I'm looking at that performance, I'm like, oh my
Kane.
god, Kane.
What was Pep doing starting no DM though?
He had a brain fart.
Arrogance.
I mean-
I think he was really arrogant. I think he underestimated Chelsea big time.
And then at
Yeah.
the same time, I asked the question: do you think? I know it wouldn't happen, but do you think Chelsea would make a bid for him? Because can you imagine? Kane squad
they already
Roman
inquired.
gave 200 million. He will be in Chelsea.
They already
I'm sure
inquired.
they'll ask. but
They
I
already
just-
inquired about him already. They already placed an offer and they already inquired. That's why Levy went from 100 because he said, "Oh, I'm worth 100." Then that's why he increased it to 200 now. That's why he increased the price to 200 because they already inquired and they are not scared. I'm sure they're gonna still be beat. They don't have a Chelsea don't have a problem buying him.
Mhm.
But is Levy gonna sell it to them? That's the
Hopefully
question.
not.
And Levy
I
likes
think he
money
would.
to ignore.
I love
If Levy sells, I think Levy knows if he sells Kane to Chelsea.
He's fucking done in there.
Honestly, if Levy does sell Kane to Chelsea and there is no
That'll unite the
uproar,
fans.
if there's no uproar in this fan base, I might as well just pack my bags and we might as well just give up. Just give up. Just give up.
No, go
I
and
agree.
support Brentford. They've just got promoted.
Yeah.
That's
I agree with
fucking
you.
next big
I-
stuff.
My question is, and if you're, and I love Harry Kane, and I don't want him to leave, but if you were Chelsea or City or even Man United, wouldn't you just wait a year for Haaland to pay
No.
these clause?
No, because Kane is
No.
better than Holland.
Kane is prem
Haaland's not
proven.
proven in the Premier League.
Kane is prem proven and in his prime.
English prime, the best striker in the world.
Don't grow.
I think the
Let
other
me-
thing-
let me-
Like,
let me tell
you
right
are
now.
buying a guarantee when you buy Kane.
Let me tell you right now. This club will be irrelevant, super irrelevant if Harry Kane wasn't there. You know why I'm saying this? The reason why I'm saying this is because everybody might say Jose is the worst, but what Jose put in his performance inside a particular player or certain players, you can feel the difference.
Oh yeah,
Harry Kane is the highest assist in the world. At the same time, he has the highest goal scorer in the world. And you guys are celebrating. I'm telling you, in a season, he did both
he
under one coach.
He got the golden boot and the
He got the golden boot
one place.
and he got the
Yeah,
highest
but
assist. Under one coach.
also, you keep bringing up Mourinho, and I get it, man. But like, can we just
I mean,
get
the
over
reason
that?
why
No,
I
can
have
we,
to
like,
bring that up.
because you keep bringing up Mourinho, and it's just like
No,
it's
I have-
over. It's done.
No,
it's
it's
dead.
over. But
He's
what I'm
done.
saying to you, I'm trying to let you guys see the extent of how Harry Kane has developed under this particular coach. Even though people might say, but I'm talking about.
Because I was right, because I asked the question: does Harry Kane put those numbers up with any other manager?
No, that's the point.
Be honest.
I don't
That
know.
is the point. So now,
Well,
do you think
that, I
do you
gotta
think
go,
they're
guys.
gonna buy him? That's why they have to increase the price to 200. That's why they increased the price to 200.
Yeah, I mean he's earned that money.
I mean,
Well, I
that's
mean,
why they increased the price to 200.
let's play GM for a second, because this is the $1 million question. If the offer comes in, forget the fan base and everything, but if the offer comes in, do you sell him and use the money to invest in the squad? Do you think you can actually build a team that can actually challenge if you were to sell him? Kind of like how Liverpool did with Coutinho.
Levy's not gonna spend any money. Just forget it. Spending, investing is not gonna happen.
No, I know. I'm not speaking on
So-
Levy. I'm not speaking on Levy. I'm asking, what would you do?
If me personally, that is okay. When Chelsea was banned for 2 seasons, as soon as the season was over, they bought all these players. But as soon as they let them back into buying transfer season, they bought all these players. If we are in the same shoe, do we think we buy players? Zero. No. And that is sad. That is why I'm so frustrated right now, because I'm thinking, like, why waste time? Why even waste energy? Why even waste all this effort? And one thing I wanted to say to you guys is that I think this very show that we do, under Will, that we do everything, I think Arsenal leadership and watches this. You know why I want to say this? Because every player we've talked about on this show, Arsenal has gone to inquire and put an offer to buy. People talk about Anderson, right? Do you remember when we talked about? I think it was
A lot of people mentioned
Anderson, but but now Arsenal is inquiring about it. All the clubs, even Sabitzer, they inquire about Sabitzer. But my question is, why? What are we doing if other teams under us are inquiring about the players we talk about?
You know,
What are we doing?
the clubs that I have envy for is look at Liverpool. I mean, the transfer window's barely open, and they've already got a player on the book.
They already got a player. What are we doing?
And that's something I've always noticed. We just, as soon as the window opens, you hear about various teams, big name teams have already had certain players on the books.
Yeah.
We never hear anything about us until it's a week before the transfer window closes, or transfer day, or all kinds of weird stuff. And so people can't bet into the squad. And right now they're claiming they're throwing names out there, players that we're looking to get, but we don't have a friggin' manager. We're not even talking about names, about players that we want to get, and we don't even have a manager.
To be fair, they're not throwing the names out. The press is. Like, in all fairness, Tottenham haven't actually come out and said, we're looking at such and such.
True.
Like, that's all press. At this point, that is all 100% press speculation.
True.
Isn't that more scarier? Right? We are not even looking at any players now.
Well, no. To be fair, I personally, at this point, would rather that. I don't want us buying no one.
I mean, I understand, yeah.
Till we've got a manager, and the manager says, I want X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Because we've gone too long buying players and then saying to our manager, right, now make something work. No, you buy what the manager wants, then he fucking makes it work.
Yeah.
I think that
what
might be the
Levy's
most
doing.
alarming point. That the most alarming point of the entire situation that we find ourselves in is that we're in a summer transfer window where the opportunity to purchase players is going to be short and sweet with Euros coming, and we don't know who's going to sustain injuries in Euros, and we have been sitting like a fucking duck for 40 days with no fucking manager. And some people will sit here and argue, well, maybe we've done the right thing by waiting, because now the likes of Poch and Zidane and all these the carousel that's moving. But if that was the case, if that was the case, if your plan was to wait, why did you have to sack Jose the way you did? It's really hard to defend the sacking of Jose and the timing of it at this point, considering that we are sitting here. At the time that Jose was sacked, we were told that they hope to have a manager appointment in place in 7 to 10 days.
Before the end of the season.
First it was 7 to 10 days. Then it was the end of the season. And now here we are.
Now it's 7 to 10 days again.
We've been sitting idle. And wouldn't you know it, there's rumors about that Poch is coming back, but it can't be announced until June 2nd. Well, surprise, surprise, the deadline to renew season tickets is June the 3rd. So there's a definite game being played here, and I don't fucking like it very much.
Yeah, a lot of, I've heard that a lot. I've heard various other Spurs season ticket holders out there saying that the date to renew is coming up. So you got all that speculation. They're saying that there's going to be a meeting on Monday with Poch or PSG or whatever to talk about some compensation. They're still throwing out the names out there. Like, through all the speculation, we'll fuck around and end up with Scott Parker.
No, we're gonna end up with Eddie Howe.
Oh yeah. Because the talks, which is, by the way, I'm with you on that one, because I read that the talks with him and Celtic went south. So who knows?
When that came out, I was like, oh dear.
Yeah. That can happen.
Oh gosh.
It's going to be a very interesting off season, very interesting transfer window. The Euros are going to be interesting because you're going to have somebody that's going to be hot, that everybody's whose value is going to go up.
That's why you strike early and get them before they have a hot season, hot tournament, and their price doubles. You know what I mean?
But Levy doesn't do that. Levy likes to deal until the end and squeeze every last shit penny that he can save.
Yeah, but that's why the last transfer window was such a shock to me, because we did strike early.
Yeah, well,
it didn't work.
We didn't. I don't think we brought the. Well, what about some of the young players that's coming in next season? Do you think any of them will break into the squad, like the Dane Scarlets?
I don't think Dane Scarlett, he's too young. Like, he may get the odd appearance of playing that European runners-up cup.
Is it English player?
Who, Dane Scarlett? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he's trained from youth at the club.
He's homegrown.
Yeah.
He's a homegrown kid.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some players coming back. We have Session. I read today that they might sell Bergwijn. Ajax is interested in Bergwijn. Do you think we should let him go? Do you think they should let him go? Or
I personally don't, but I know a lot of people who don't like it.
But in the end of the day, it comes down to who's going to be the new manager. That's it. It has to come down to that. Then the new manager has to pick who he wants and who he doesn't want. Right? So in the end of the day, we're all still hanging around trying to figure out who we're going to get next. So when we know who we're going to get next, then maybe we know who the team will be. If not, at the moment, as I see it, they're all still there. Nobody's moving, but the big news Kane is going to move, which mostly will trigger a domino effect. Maybe Son will sign his extension, which will trigger another domino effect. You know, it'll go on and on. All our best players will leave. That's all. That's all I see it.
But, yeah, I think they need to do something. They need to have something announced, because if I was a season ticket holder and that deadline's coming up, I'd have a hard time paying for my season tickets.
No. For me, is that if you can afford it, being a season ticket holder, if you can afford it, buy it. Go into the stadium, show your displeasure live on worldwide TV. That will shake Levy.
Yeah, but
that negative.
But the problem is about the season tickets. There's a long list. Like if you don't pay your season ticket,
the season ticket holders will renew. This whole manager thing, and I heard Brian talking about it. Now, I'm sorry, guys, this is the fucking conspiracy theory. The people with season tickets are going to renew, because if they don't, they're going to get on the back of a 10-year waiting list, and those people aren't going to do that. They're going to renew. It doesn't matter who the fuck.
They should renew. They should renew.
The manager isn't. They're going to renew.
Not everybody will. I've already seen some people saying that they're just so disillusioned that they don't give a shit. But I know what you're saying.
I've been watching around the rest of the YouTube channel people and all that. A lot of them say if they get Poch back, they will renew straight away. See, so it might be all just a PR scheme again. You get season tickets to renew.
Look, I mean, I don't know whether Poch is coming back or not. I don't, and like I've heard so many rumors through so many different windows. Not even managers. Oh, we're getting this player. It never works out. I mean, how many well beaters have we nearly signed? It's ridiculous.
Zabala,
ridiculous.
Right. Don't talk about the nearly signs. The nearly signs are all just
but this is what Poch feels like. It feels like another well beater we nearly signed. You know what I mean?
They're throwing out Zaha. You know.
We've been going for Zaha for 10 years, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. I like Zaha.
Me too.
I like Zaha too. I think Poch wanted Zaha, and he never got him.
He'd be a tonic if we got him. I like the player.
I think it's too late now.
No.
I think he's very.
No, I think Zaha would be
very serviceable.
Both Jason. I got a question for both of the Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And my question would be, where do we go from here? because right now we know that somebody's gonna come for Kane, 100%. Somebody's gonna buy him, and when they buy him, and this guy, and we also know that Levy is not gonna invest the money because it's gonna say, "Oh, we need to pay down our debt. We still owe money." What would be your expectation? You know, definitely top 4. You cannot make it. Whoever, even if you get Paul, even if you get what do you call it, Guardiola as our coach, you know you cannot hit top 4 with these players after Kane is gone, or the rest of these players. You cannot get to top 4. So where would you expect us to finish at? If Kane is gone, Son, maybe likely Son will follow, but let's say for Son stay another season. Where do you think we would end up next season? Both Jason.
Me personally, if we sell Kane, and there's some big ifs here, so I'm going with the positive ifs. If we sell Kane, and if the money's invested, and if the manager, say it's Poch, and if the rumours I'm hearing that he's only coming back if he gets control of who the players that are bought or not, if that's the case, I think top 6, then next season break back into top 4.
Yeah. So from what I'm hearing, and I thought about some of these moves that they were looking at. So if you sell Kane, all right, because I heard that if they were to sell Kane, they would try and get like Ollie Watkins, or which is all right, I guess. You know,
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Tony.
I see what you're saying, Cody. It's just like, so when you're like.
Look at everybody. Read that comment.
I just mean the comment. I just mean the comment. I'm responding to the comment.
But do you guys realize that this same guy, Tommy Abraham, went to Everton and scored the highest goal for them at the time when they brought him back. When they brought him back, he carried them through the time period where they were on ban, when they didn't have when they were banned. That same guy carried them through, and it's still today. Tommy Abraham is still the highest goal scorer than Tim Winner in Chelsea.
That's how bad.
That's why he didn't play this season. He's still considered the highest goal scorer for them as of that now, other than Hazard.
That's how bad Werner is. But I mean,
okay, guys, just to talk about the money, right? I read somewhere, right? Tottenham has restructured some of their loans.
They did. They
restructured their loans. And they have 250 million, right, in excess now to use. So whether
but that's not all
million,
but that's not all.
Whether the 250 million is going to go for players, or whether the 250 million is just to be put there to maybe show Kane, we are not going to sell you, and we have the money to invest. Now we're just looking for the manager.
No.
Okay.
I think the loan was taken out to pay one loan off and to also give the club.
Right, so but it's been restructured.
They took out a $175 million loan from the Bank of England. It had to be repaid by a certain time. They've just refinanced it. That money's already gone.
Yeah,
and the difference that's not money that's going to be put into transfers. That's just them avoiding stricter penalties that the Bank of England would have imposed if they hadn't paid that loan back. So that is not a move to free up cash to spend on Tottenham Hotspur. That is simply just kicking the rock down the road.
Yeah, that's just typical financial.
Yeah, they did some financial stuff, and they kind of threw out
a bunch of financial jargon.
It was so basically what they did. I think they basically went to Bank of America.
They did.
They went to Bank of America. Funny how the same people that were behind the Super League.
100%. Yeah, but I think they sold them some shares and shit.
Yeah, but the question I asked you guys.
Hold on. They're just buying their mortgage debts and all that.
Let Jason finish his thought. Go on, mate.
So basically, they went to Bank of America. They refinanced their loan. They're going to end up paying off the Bank of England. Now, whatever money is freed up for transfers, I wouldn't. It's nowhere near 200 million. It's not going to be. There's still the issue's still going to be they're going to have to sell some players in order to buy some players. Now, the biggest chip that they could sell is Harry Kane. Okay, but I mean, that's the biggest chip that you can sell, but that doesn't solve our problem. We still need to get rid of the dead wood. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like
rather sell the 15 Deadwoods out and get the 150 million.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's not like Klopp's situation with Liverpool where he was 2 players away from challenging because he bought Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. They had their front free. They pretty much had their team built out. We don't have that. We don't have that. We
don't have a manager.
We need a right back. We need 2 center backs. Okay. And you might need to go buy another left back because I don't know what the hell happened to Sergio Reguilon's game. Okay. I don't know where that went. We need I guess you're hoping that Ollie Skip can come in and help alongside Højbjerg, but we still don't have a ball playing midfielder. We just don't.
Creative midfielder.
We don't have a string puller in that midfield.
There's nobody that can pull the strings. Now, unless you're gonna go out there and you can convince Villa to sell Jack Grealish and pull him out of the rug from under Man United. I've heard Man City now in the mix, or Arsenal might be in the mix. I mean, I've never seen us be the team to come up in there and snatch somebody from up under somebody else, especially one of the bigger teams. I've never seen us go up under and said, "Oh shit, Spurs just made a freaking $80 million offer to somebody to pull them under the, to yank somebody up under the rug."
We never do that.
Man United, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah. Okay, obligatory host interruption to say that if you're watching this and you haven't smashed a like yet, please smash a like. It helps us out. We're a growing channel. We're coming up on 800 subs. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, click subscribe, click the little bell. You'll get notifications when we go live. We're going to be pumping out content here all summer as we go along. And as the shitstorm continues to unravel, we will talk about it until we are dry in the mouth. But go on, Jason Reed.
Would you take Raheem Sterling? Because we're hearing that say if we get rid of Son, would you go for Son? I mean, would you go for Sterling? I'm hearing Man City's trying to put him out there. Would you take him?
I'm not a big Sterling guy personally. It depends. Like you're saying, it's part of a deal.
No,
it's not a deal. They're just trying to sell him. Would you buy him?
Well, everybody has a price that you would be willing to pay to.
You think it would be too expensive? Forget about price. Do you think he would be a good fit for the team?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't like Raheem Sterling. I think he's overrated.
I asked a question earlier before you guys talk about Raheem Sterling, and you took the question to a different level. You guys probably didn't hear what I said. I said that if we sell Kane, me and we all know that Levy is not going to invest the money on players. We know, but we are trying to be sentimental. I don't even do that, but we know that they're not going to. And if it doesn't, where do you think we're going to end up at in the position?
Mid-table.
Like
mid-table.
Right now,
like if you're saying that we sell
depending who the manager is,
buy any striker at all, is that
I mean, if we are playing the same set of players without Kane, where do we end up?
Same set of players without Kane. We'll be fighting relegation.
Where do we end up? Mid-table, minimum.
Relegation?
I think we'll be fighting for relegation. We keep all the players the same Deadwood that we have.
Yeah. If you sell Kane and you don't bring players in, that's criminal. That's fucking criminal. Yeah, you deserve to be in the relegation fight, to be honest.
You will be.
Yeah, you're in a relegation.
Yeah. I just want to get my mind ready before next season because I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
I'm telling you.
I know what you're saying about Harry Kane and the impact that he has on the squad. Statistically speaking, he was involved in an obscene amount of our goals this year in the Premier League and in all competitions. But I think in a team sport like this, you don't just remove Harry Kane and then remove all of his statistics and look at it that way. I think that we would be in the middle of the table. I don't think that we would be fighting a relegation battle if we got rid of Harry Kane. You have to think about
the same group of players that we have, with the same mentality that they have, and the same shit that they show all the whole of season. I think we'll be in relegation.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, especially if we bring Ings in, he's good for a few goals.
No, Ings. Now, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna that's what I'm saying. It depends on who you bring. It depends on who you bring.
I'm not joking. Like, I've got no issue with that. Ings.
I think we
apart
are
from his injury issues.
I think we are where we are based off of regardless. No, we are where we are. With these players, we are where we are. We are where we deserve to be. 7th in the table. That's where we are. Based off of what
it could be worse.
It could have been worse. It could have been, but we are where we are. And and if you remove Kane from that, we can still probably be where we are. Battling, fucking around with Arsenal. They'll probably jump us next season. But...
No, I'm not having it, man. Fuck that. No. If that's my choice, we're finishing 5th. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's only one player. Everyone says it's only one player. I get it. I'm not, and I'm not trying to overreact. I just feel that the question is, if you sell Kane, who are we bringing in? I mean, listen.
Also, I'm saying we sell Kane and we don't bring in anybody.
I can't see that. I just can't see that.
No, just hypothetically.
And hypothetically, that'd be criminal.
No, that's not.
That's what I'm saying. Hypothetically, if we sell Kane and don't bring anybody and still maintain with the same team, where will we be?
We'll be in a relegation fight. I'm telling you that because who's putting the ball in the net.
I'll say 14. I'll say 14th.
No, that's relegation fight.
We'll be fooling around. We'll be fooling around. We wouldn't get relegated, but we'd be fooling around.
Relegation fight. Somewhere around there.
We'd be fooling around with the freaking with Burnley, Brexit FC. Fooling around with Brexit FC.
I don't know. I get it, but
Newcastle.
The thing is, you have to think about the replacement value that you would bring in. I know what you're saying. Like hypothetically, we don't bring, but even within our organization, we have viable replacements. You could put Dane Scarlett in Harry Kane's place. Okay. You would have tactical changes in the team. We wouldn't be as reliant on Harry Kane. Who knows? Maybe we get rid of Kane and
it'd be a bit faster though, so you
may play
a faster game going forward. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Cody. I mean, he's going to be.
I don't think we would be flirting with relegation. That's a little bit of a stretch for me.
I love Harry Kane. I would tell you what we could do. What I would probably be a little bit excited about if you did get rid of Kane and had like a younger, sprier number 9 is that we could actually friggin' press teams. You know what I'm saying? They would have, they would kind of have that energy to press somebody, and see what can happen. I don't think we're that bad, but I think our issues are more defensively. I think.
Well, yeah, but the defense, it's not just your back 4. You know what I mean? Like it's a team game, and like. When you're giving the ball away in midfield or you're not pressing them, it's just defensively as a team, we sucked this year.
It's just a hypothetical.
I have a question because, and I don't know what they would do with this. Do you keep Ndombele?
Yeah,
I sell him for the right price.
No,
if we can recoup what we paid for him.
What's the right price?
What's the right price?
What we paid for him.
I'd keep him
around 57.
If we got
it for about 57, if I'm not mistaken.
Jason, I know what you're saying, but
if you tell me that dude will be fit. He ain't gonna have a choice.
You tell me one reason that you can hang on to Ndombele, given what we paid for him. He's our all-time most expensive transfer at £56 million, right? What has he done to justify that price? Where you would say if someone came in with £56 million right now, that you wouldn't take that and reinvest it elsewhere?
He hasn't done shit.
You cannot continue to keep players based on unfulfilled potential. We've made that mistake so many times. It's time to stop making it. Personal opinion.
Yeah, but let's be honest here, though. There are bigger problems to get rid of than him.
So I asked.
And to me, he's probably one of the most talented players we've got.
Right.
Boost it.
But you're talking about players that we need to get rid of. This is just in the context of if we got the right price, would I sell? And that the answer is yes.
I
Mora then?
but that's just me.
I don't
right
foresee
Mora?
I don't foresee Ndombele's value going up. I only see it going down. So if somebody offered me, I'd rip their hand off to get rid of him for the price that we paid for him.
I wouldn't sell Mora. He's a good squad player.
Yeah, I would think with Ndombele, he's got.
I'm selling.
I think
I'm selling Lo Celso. That's the player that I'll be looking to offload. A guy like Lo Celso doesn't really
He's also
feel more than he confidence. He doesn't really
so injury prone.
He is too injury prone.
Yeah. He doesn't. Lo Celso. The thing about Lo Celso, he doesn't really excel in any aspect of the game. There's no part of the game that you can look at Lo Celso and be
Cody,
like,
you killed Lo
he's a
Celso,
specialist
Cody.
in this part.
I don't mind Lo Celso.
You killed Lo Celso. You killed Lo Celso, Cody.
That was a main issue.
There's a fire sale.
That was a main issue when we got him.
Yeah.
I mean, between
go.
because I say, like, all right, so if you keep in Ndombele, I personally I don't like him playing besides Højbjerg. I just don't. It's not working. It hasn't worked, and he doesn't seem to have.
I'm not convinced that's where he should be playing.
Yeah, me either.
Listen,
I just don't think he has the legs.
Let me tell you this.
You
If we got Antonio Conte in, that guy would fucking bury Ndombele. Absolutely bury him.
He wanted him an answer.
Yeah, exactly, right? Honestly, this is the kind of guy that we need to give the keys to the Ferrari to, if you're asking me. Give Poch whatever you want. Yeah, that's fine. We've tried that. It didn't work. I think we need this man has what does this guy have to prove to get Tottenham supporters to realize that this guy has the mentality that we talk about all the time that is missing at this club. This guy has been at Inter for 2 years. Boom, Scudetto. First time in 10 years. Ended Juventus's domination. 9 straight years they won that league. Right?
I'm sorry, it's Mourinho 2.0 though.
Which is
not for me.
Which is what I was going to, because I read the little piece by Alistair Gold, and he thinks that if we go down and get Conte, it's damn near like, Jose 2.0. They feel like there's this perception that we're making the same mistake, and I mean,
because I already said, I don't know, Jason, you probably wasn't here. I already said to you guys that all this play, Brandon Rodgers, Kante, Tuchel, all those players, all those coaches, they play Jose Mourinho's 3-4-3 masterclass formation. They just remodernized it in a very specific way. They play the same thing.
I just want to know, how long are we going to sit here with no trophies in our cabinet before we say the Tottenham way isn't working?
And this people,
it's been 60 fucking years since we won the league. 60 years of playing the Tottenham way, and we haven't got a goddamn league title in our cabinet.
And all these coaches that we are talking about, have won something this year. All these 3 coaches that I've said just now have won something this year. Playing Jose Mourinho's formation, just playing in a different way. All these coaches that we are complaining about, and now bringing these coaches in, all these coaches needs what we call investment, and that is something that we cannot do. And that's something but you are expecting a miracle to happen. These people are not going to work if you cannot invest. If you didn't invest in Poch, you didn't invest in Jose, you want to bring another coach now. You are not talking about investment. But you want them to win with Deadwoods. It's not going to happen. No miracle is going to happen.
What the league said there, you could say exactly the same thing about Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
2 years and needs investment. Didn't fucking get it, and it didn't work.
Yeah, you have to, like, even with Conte, put it this way. If you gave the keys to Conte, and we could sit here as a fan base and say, yeah, we'll back him. We'll
look, if we hired him, I'd back him.
No, but I'm saying, not as the fan base. We could sit there as a fan base and be confident that Levy and the fucking board would back him. You know a trophy's coming to this bitch. You know it.
Everybody stop talking. Everybody wave and say good morning to Arthur. Hello, Arthur.
Hi, Arthur.
Hope you're doing well, buddy.
I'm
loving those videos. You keep them coming. Everybody who's watching this, we got 77 people watching. Go over, subscribe to Ask Arthur. The man is brilliant. He's been a Spurs fan for 65 years. He can remember the double winning side of 1961. He's got some great stories. Arthur is solid gold. Love you, buddy. Continue.
Yeah, I told you guys. The truth about it is, if you invest, you will get winners. You'll get cups. But right now, we are not investing, and we're not even talking about investing. Every player we're talking about on this platform, other people are already inquiring and buying them. And I'm looking like, what are we doing? And every coach that there was a newspaper I read, they said 7 European coach have rejected to become Tottenham's coach. I'm like, why are coaches rejecting? Usually it's supposed to be the other way around. The coaches are rejecting to come to a club. Why? Because they have to come and deal with somebody that is going to tell them what they want, and they cannot get what they want.
Look, we've got a little argument going on in the comments that I want to highlight, because I think that they both have valid points. One of them is arguing in favor of Conte, saying that, stop with the Spursy loser mentality by rejecting managers that have won. Conte just won the Serie A. Valid point.
Mm-hmm.
Also a valid point. This squad is not ready for Conte. It will take too long. And we did just go through this with Jose, where, usually Jose is a 3-year cycle. Conte is even shorter at some points.
Mm-hmm.
Is the job too big to bring in a pedigree manager like Antonio Conte right now? Do we need to go through a transition period where we bring in, I don't know, Eugene, what do you think? Eddie Howe to get us to Antonio Conte? You know what I mean?
Gosh.
You need, to be honest with you, you need 500 million. If you want to redo everything, you have to kick out everybody else and bring 500 million.
Yeah, but you know our biggest problem?
That's what I see.
Our biggest problem, and I'll tell it to you right now. Who's going to buy the deadwood we want to get rid of at a price?
That's what I'm
that
saying.
A German will
They're not going to buy them. They're not going to buy them. That is why you need to buy all your players.
Get rid of them. 5 million per player. Oh.
That's
what honestly, there's
nobody's
a few of them. I'll
them.
Just let them go. Fucking
or
swallow
just
the
give them away.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody is going to buy them.
Okay,
That's
the
why
problem now with the issue with Conte is it's very simple. If he comes in and he doesn't get the backing, he won't come in. Correct? Why did you think the statement came out that Conte, we need a softer kind of manager apart from Antonio Conte, right? So that is already saying that maybe they've already spoken to Antonio. Antonio has already put down his terms, right? And Levy can't accept it. So we have to move on.
You have to move on.
So we have to move on. So Conte is looking to go to Real Madrid. But Real Madrid is in more shit than us. They can't buy shit now. They don't have the money.
They don't have the money. Yeah.
And have you noticed what Barca has been doing? They've been brilliant. They've been signing all the free transfer top players, picking them up. Aguero, right? Ronaldo, right? And Donnarumma is going there too, I heard now. So what Barca are doing is brilliant. Real Madrid is going to be in shit because why do you think Zidane left? Because most probably Zidane has been told, oh, sorry, boy, this year I can't give you your 300 million you want to build a team. So what does Zidane say? Why should I stay here?
He's coming to Tottenham. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I know. I've said it earlier. I said Zidane's coming to Tottenham, right? But then when he comes to Tottenham,
Bale's definitely coming back.
the Bale is not coming back. No, I heard. Uncle Arthur said what? Bale is moving back to Cardiff.
Do you know what? Fair play to him. He's earned the right.
Let's talk about Gareth Bale.
Uncle Arthur says Bale is moving back to Cardiff because Bale is building his mansion there or something like that.
Do you want him back?
Yeah. Let's go around the panel and talk about Gareth Bale because it's an interesting question. It's who knows what Gareth Bale himself is actually talking about, but what are your thoughts as to whether or not you would extend the loan on Gareth Bale? Eugene?
Okay, for Bale, right? What I feel is if he doesn't come back here, he will still hang on to that contract in Madrid. It's 600,000 euros a week.
A week, yeah.
Tax free,
or
something like that. I'm not going to. I will sit down and take the 600,000 until the sun comes down or whatever.
I was thinking,
and he'll play golf. Yeah. The chaos is, remember, said that if he announced what he wants to do, he'll cause chaos. Maybe he's going back to Cardiff. That's my theory. But Bale, to tell the truth, he's a brilliant player. And if he's on form and fit enough, he will smack 20, 25 goals easily in the EPL per season. But because of his age and he's been protecting himself to be ready for the Euros, that's why he's been holding back. That's why his development was so slow under Mourinho. You see? So in the end of the day, still big up to Bale. He has the talent, and it's just whether it will shine. And whether he comes back the next season, I think also we'll see who the manager is, right? Do you think Bale will want to play for Eddie Howe or Potter? That's my question.
I'll be honest. I don't think Bale would play in a Poch system. He don't work hard enough.
Yeah. And then Poch is another thing. Have you noticed, right, during the Poch era, Kane gets injured regularly for 2-3 months a season. I think the training regime pushes him to the brink. But when Jose came in, I think Jose let the leash off him a bit. That's why this season we see him, he wasn't that badly injured for too long. You see? And he started to produce other ways of improving himself. That's how I see it. But if Poch comes in, he's going to run them down the ground again. Why do you think the players threw him under the bus the first time?
Yeah, but that's why we need the painful rebuild that Poch was talking about, because all these teams that play that system have a life cycle, and that team had reached the end of their cycle. It needed refreshing.
Yeah,
I
Jason
got
Groves.
it.
I want to ask Jason Groves, because he wasn't here when we first started talking about it. Do you want Poch back?
Yes. I do, because he's the only name out of all of them that excites me. I do also agree with you, and I heard you talking about it earlier, Cody. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not, but selfishly, yes. If you're asking me selfishly, yes, I want him back.
Do you think, is there a part of you that worries that as much as Poch says that he wants to eventually come back to Tottenham, that we're only going to have one chance at giving him a second chance? You know, like, because I'm thinking, okay, so Dane Scarlett just turned 17. What if we waited another 2 years to bring Poch back? You know, and I don't want to just minimize it into like the career path of a single player, but with everything being so fucking shit right now at Tottenham, way worse than they were when Poch left. Is it really a situation where we want to bring him into and say, okay, realistically, we're 2 years away from achieving things as a club, in my eyes. If Poch comes in now, is that too long? Will the fans remain patient? Will Daniel Levy remain patient enough to give him the time that we need to get where we want to go? I'm just not convinced, and I think that we might squander our only chance. Our only chance of giving him a second chance.
And that's where I agree with you, because that's the point you made earlier. But selfishly, I do want him back, but I 100% think you've got a valid point there.
I do too. I think so too. I agree with Jason, and I agree with you too, Cody. And I did notice that his demands were, he wanted a 4-year deal. He wanted 4 year. He wants a 4-year deal and more control over players. So, I mean, if he's even going to remotely entertain coming back, he has his set of demands. Now, whether or not they want to concede to those demands is yet to be seen. I agree with Jason as well. Be like, for selfishly, yes, you know, for the feel good, that kind of gets me, you know, for the feel good. But at the same time, do you really not really take a really strong, hard look at Antonio Conte and be like, especially when Antonio Conte has expressed his interest in coming to White Hart Lane? I mean,
is he?
Yes.
When
he said they've reported that. They've said that he's interested. He's very interested. So it's.
I mean, I'd like to see him on the sideline. It would make fucking interesting viewing. I'll give you that.
Yeah, because he's a madman. He's a madman. And he freaking lights a fire under players' asses You know, say what you want. He lights fires under people's asses.
Well, he got Ericsson playing again, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he did. Yeah, he did. He did. Shockingly.
Yeah, he got Skriniar playing again
He got
too.
Skriniar playing.
He gets all these players playing.
He got the best out of
Perisic.
Lukaku. He got the best out of Lukaku. I mean, that
It's very interesting because I think that the weakest version of Antonio Conte is still stronger minded than the strongest version of Maurizio Pochettino in terms of like how forceful his management style is and how forceful he would be with the board. So like if he came into an interview with Daniel Levy and put on like the sweetsiest Antonio Conte face that he could possibly put on, I still think that he would be harder for Levy to picture working with than Maurizio Pochettino if Maurizio was coming in there with like a real hard ass, like I'm a tough guy look. So I don't know. I would love to have a guy like Antonio Conte, but also we just had a guy like Antonio Conte. So
And
are
it
we
didn't
really going to
work.
sit here and pretend that we've suddenly just realized in the last 8 weeks that we made
We
a big
need
mistake
Conte.
not backing the managers that we had, you know? It's just, man, we were just such a fucking shit show. I hate
I will
talking
say
about
this. I will say
But-
this
but-
though: if Poch does come back,
It's unfair to
you
compare
know,
Conte and
because he's got
Mourinho.
all the balls. Poch has control in this situation.
Yeah, he
So
does.
if come Monday they say we've got Poch back, I guarantee you know damn well that he's got the control that he
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to fucking come back.
No, would you leave PSG? Look at the PSG roster compared to ours. Of course, he's got all the power right now because he's literally saying, look who I get to
Oh,
manage right now.
Oh.
I'm managing Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria.
Yeah, but he doesn't love PSG.
He doesn't hey,
I'm
Maybe
joking.
there's some problems with the players there too.
and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Mbappe
problems.
and
I
Neymar.
already told you.
The
I already
ego of
told you-
Mbappe and Neymar.
I already told you guys that there is a problem with the players
With the-
there, and the problem they have is Neymar is a lazy trainer like Ali, and because of that, he complains. He doesn't want to train. Like Poch wants you to train three times a day, and that's the problem. These players, they don't want to. They don't like to. When they become celebrity, they don't want to do training. They only want to do training once a while, once in a blue moon. And the Kante requires the same thing. It requires 3 times a day training every day, and it pushes them harder and harder. That you have to keep some of these games. You have to keep running. These players, they don't like to run. They just want to sit back. They want the ball to come to them. They want other people to run and push the ball to them, and that's the problem. Even Kane confessed, saying in the beginning of Poch, he didn't like Poch because it was too much training. He said, but now Poch developed him to run more. He said he presses him to run and keep working hard. And these are the things that celebrity players don't like to do. That's the same thing Pogba don't like to do. And when it becomes all these celebrity players, they become celebrity more of the training part. They just abandon that side. And for you to want to be successful, you have to put in an effort. You have to keep pushing yourself if they are not pushing you. And that's where we Tottenham players do a lot of sentimentation and say, oh, just let them be. Don't touch the players. Don't talk about the players. If a player is a lazy trainer, he's a lazy trainer. And that's it. That's just the bottom line. And you always have a problem with a coach that requires intensity. You have to have highest intensity. I mean, if you cannot do highest intensity, then it's a problem. What is the new coach for Bayern Munich now?
that's Nagelsmann.
Nagelsmann. We want Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann will require intensity.
Of
And
course.
now, Bayern Munich is an intensity team. That's how they play. That's how they show how good they are. And that is what the mentality we should have now is we should get a coach that wants intensity and we should just keep the intensity. And another thing I want to ask that people are calling for Poch. People are calling for Poch. What position we were when Poch was fired under the same players? Where were we? 14th, 15th?
Yeah,
Yeah,
were.
we're mid-table.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we were in 14th when Jose
we
came
were.
in. We were 14th. And
Yeah.
now you
Yeah,
want
but
this,
it was like a 5-point difference. So, like, it wasn't
I mean, he could have turned that around.
Yeah, he could have turned.
To be fair,
But the players weren't playing
like the
for him anymore
15
anyway, because of the intensity, because of the problem he was having. They weren't playing for him anymore. So
Right.
now you want him to come back to the same Deadwood and see if he can.
no,
make them-
no. I want him to come back to this club
Yeah.
and have control and clean out the fucking Deadwood and get players he wants.
That's my point. It's
That's
gonna
what
clear out
I
all this.
want.
Ali wouldn't even exist under him. If he was gonna come back, Ali would not exist.
Guys, what do you think if Conte came in for 2 years, clean up everything, right, and Conte leaves after 2 years, and Poch comes and take back over? That would be perfect, right?
Yeah.
That should be the ideal situation.
So here's Poch. This is the analogy I have for Poch, because there's 3 teams that are interested in him. Okay, Spurs, the current team he's with, and Real Madrid. Okay, Real Madrid. And I look at it like this: we're his ex. We're the ex. Okay, so we're the ex who gave him the "Hey big head" call. Hey big head. We gave him the "Hey big head." you know what I'm talking about. Hey, PSG's the rebound chick. The rebound chick. So PSG is kind of knocked his socks off, but she's a little bit of a flirt, and she's not very. She drinks too much. Okay, so he's all right, but she drinks a little too much, and Real Madrid is the dream chick that he's always had a crush on. Okay, and they're like, hey, you kind of got
Real Madrid got no money.
No, you got buff. You
Sorry,
buff.
how do they say hey?
Hey. You're looking kind of buff. You're looking. Oh, you've been working out. That's what this is literally what it looks like right now. That's
I have. Thanks.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you look like you've been working out. Hey, and you're like, oh,
Jason,
yes.
Can you answer the question on the comments? I don't know how to answer that question. That question is too much for me to answer.
Ask everyone.
That's easy. Sanchez.
Yeah, you keep Sanchez. He needs a. You keep Sanchez because at least with Sanchez, if you put him with a damn good leader type center back, he'll be all right.
You know what?
Keep Sanchez, build up his leg muscles so he doesn't fall down all the time.
I think honestly, these two. I know where you're coming from with that, but I sell whoever gets me more money.
True.
That's how I look at it.
Right, because they're both they're both dire.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 peas in a pod, a piece of shit and a turd.
Can we sell both?
Good luck selling
both.
I can't keep any of them under Kante. None of them will be there. None of them will be there under Kante. None of them will be there.
Like if you some of the players, I don't know. I mean, if Poch come back, I guess some of the players will be like, "Oh, I'm ready to play now. I'm going to go balls to the wall."
No, I don't think Poch.
Guys, do you think Foyt do you think Foyt should be given a chance?
I don't think we can. I think.
I'm not going to lie. I watched
the play.
He bled like shit for that final.
No.
Bandage, nose bleeding. My God, it was
no. Well, he got beat up in that game, but
he played all right.
He played his ass off. He played, and then the other thing was he played his fucking ass off against Arsenal too. He got injured. He bossed them. He was. He bossed them. Before he got injured. I'm impressed. I mean, I was like, there goes they're the best left back. I mean, the best right back on our fucking team doesn't even play for our team.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Juan Foyt.
Oh yeah.
Like legit.
For me personally, I would let Villarreal keep him. I think Villarreal is a perfect team for him. I think it's a perfect spot for him. Him in the Spanish league is a lot more slower and not as physically demanding. He has a manager that truly believes in him, that's given him a chance, and that knows how to get the best out of Juan Foyt. If I'm Juan Foyt, you have to stay in Villarreal. It's a perfect spot for you. There's no point of trying to come back to Tottenham and try to, there's no really deep connection with him and Tottenham.
He's a better option than Dyer and Sanchez. Right?
He's not going to be
like a better option than Dyer Sanchez.
None of us want him. None of us want him as a center back, and none of us is really going to want him as a right. We all want more attacking right back. Let's be real now. We don't want that kind of right back that's more like a more defensive. we want a right back that's flying up and down the pitch like a Danny
I
Rose
mean,
or a Sergio Reguilon.
he deserves
So
to
I
be
think-
more than a squad player, that's for sure. And at Villarreal, he definitely would not be a squad player.
But I
when
mean,
you're playing black back three anyway, you need your
wing
left
back.
back to play LWB. You know, you're gonna need them that they don't have to come and do much of a defense work, and that's the thing about Robert Martinez too. Martinez play 3-4-3 formation the same way, but when they play those three, they don't rely too much. That's why you have to have when you play the back three, you need your defense to be perfecto, not maybe so. You have to need your three defense because the way system is organized, you don't need too much of the strikers running back to come and do defense work. You need the strikers to be pre-ready to attack at all times.
Do we let Zappa play his natural freaking position as center back?
Who?
Japhet Tanganga.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he plays too much even though when he's playing right back, he has to always come to the center to defend as well. He's playing both at the same time because the people that we have are not strong enough. They're not strong enough.
Let's welcome Kieran to the chat. I want to let Kieran have his say on whatever he wants to because I left him on Craiggie's Island there for a little while. Usually there's like a noise that goes off that lets you know that somebody's in the backstage, but it must have been just so intense on. I think it was Jason Reed with his sexy voices there that he was making earlier that just had me distracted. But Kieran, what are your thoughts on anything you want to talk about?
Well, you know what? I'm going to start with the Champions League final today. Did you guys watch it?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
No. No,
yeah,
I didn't watch it. I didn't care.
Well, that's good for you that you didn't watch it. So my best friend is a Chelsea fan. So
there's your first take.
Yeah. Well, you know, funny enough, I actually he was the one who got me into football. So I grew up playing American football and rugby. He grew up playing like football, or as we call it, soccer. And he started taking me to like the local team games and stuff like that. And then he got me into watching Premier League. And I chose Tottenham originally just to spite him. But then, of course, you know, I caught the bug. So yeah, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing. Yeah, absolutely. Comic book guy. Oh, God, no.
That's a comic book guy.
I'm calling a comic book guy. Damn, that one hurts. Anyway, that really sucked watching the Blue Scum lift the trophy there. That was not fun. It should be us who's in that position and not them. And if proper steps were taken after the Champions League final we made it to, or even in the 2 transfer windows before that, it probably would be us. So it's just hard to watch. And then you just look at some of the performances from the players on Chelsea today. Ben Chilwell, brilliant. N'Golo Kante, magnificent. Honestly, if I get to pick the Ballon d'Or this year, I give it to N'Golo Kante. I know that's a hot take, and especially because he's a Chelsea player, but he's outstanding, and he really doesn't get enough credit. Reece James put Sterling in his pocket today. Dude couldn't do anything with him. And just the way Tuchel set the team up and the way Chelsea were playing. They were playing this 5-2-3, 3-4-3 in attack. Wing backs getting high and wide, so much space on the wings, combining 1-2, setting up triangles and just, advancing the ball downfield, but then also being able to, break players and hit long balls over the top. It was a counterattacking masterpiece from Tuchel. But they also were able to control possession at different points in the game too. And it's just, I wish we could see that from Spurs, I wish I could sit down and watch the Spurs and watch us play.
Do you think the lack of DM? Do you think the lack of DM helped them have that space, a lot of that space?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. In the beginning of the season, in the beginning of the stream, that's what I was talking about. These things you just said, that was what I was explaining to the old panel in the beginning of the stream, saying that the masterpiece, all these things that all these people are now playing now is a remodernization of Jose's 3-4-3 masterpiece. I said that's the same thing Robert Martinez played, Tuchel play. That's the same thing. What do you call it? The same thing. All these new coaches are playing. They're just remodernizing it. That's the same thing Conte plays. I'm saying they're just playing 3-4-3 formation. Is either you play it in quadrangle, or you play it in diamond, or you play, but it's 3-4-3 formation. And if a Belgium national team played that and they got to semi-final, they got to final of 2 or 3 times, and that's the same thing. These people have got cups and cups and cups and cups and cups and gold and diamond over. We need to do something drastically. We need a coach that can perform something drastically. This team is gone. They are gone. It's gone. Because how can you lose and be laughing on this? Laughing. I mean, why can you lose and be laughing? So that's why I'm like, I can't even blame him if he turns around and said, I'm done with this thing. And I think he knew it was done anyway. He's just going with the flow. If you're done with the thing, you're done with the thing. Because right now, we celebrate a lot of sedimentation. I don't know why we do that. We celebrate that. We need to do better. We shouldn't even be expecting top 4. We should be saying we want to win Premier League. We want to win Premier League. We want to win Champions League. I mean, at this point, we are better than this. 5 years, 6 years ago, everybody here, Tottenham, Manchester City here, Tottenham, they are scared. People here, Tottenham, they are scared. Even now, they hear Tottenham, they were like, just put pressure on them. When they put pressure on us, we fall apart. That's all it takes. Pressure, and we fall apart.
They need to change the model from to theirs to do, because we don't do shit.
They don't do. That's my point. When I read that, I was like, what did they do?
They
don't do anything.
To theirs to do.
We don't do anything.
We don't. To theirs not to do anything.
And it's sad because, you know, you would think looking at a club like Chelsea, right? You know, owned by a Russian oligarch, big money club. They throw money at the transfer window, constant squad overturn. They kick kids out of their academy like it's going out of style, you know. They do constant just players in, players out, manager in, season after season. You think, how could they maintain a culture at Chelsea? How can they maintain a collective spirit at Chelsea? You would think that the place would be like a graveyard, more like Man City. But it's not. It's not. You look at the passion in the players' eyes. You look at guys like Cesar Azpilicueta. I mean, Rudiger, who absolutely went out there and gave everything he had today.
Yes, that's what I said.
Player that we as Spurs fans have mocked over and over again. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. And then you watch Abramovich himself come down and party with the players and the manager and everything. Like, where is that spirit at Tottenham? Where is that soul?
Yes.
How are they the big money imperial club that they are have the kind of spirit that we don't? When we're supposed to be one of the clubs like Liverpool who, you know, do it the right way, you know?
Because it's like 3-4-3 formation.
Because we sold our soul.
Yeah, Chelsea.
We sold the manager that was going to do that for us, and we didn't back him.
Right.
Sorry, we sacked the manager that gave us our soul back, and fucking didn't back him.
Never back them.
Preach.
We could never get away from 2 transfer windows of not signing a player. You cannot get away from it. And that was the most key. That was the critical part that doomed this squad. That when we needed to refresh, and everybody knows we never replaced Moussa Dembele. That was one of the most important players on that team that we never replaced.
And we never replaced Eriksen either.
We never replaced Eriksen.
Yeah, and
we never replaced Victor Wanyama. There were just players that we just
never replaced Kieran Trippier, and he was not even supposed to be a real replacement for Kyle Walker.
Ericsson wasn't even playing for us anymore. Ericsson started dragging his feet. Even when he went to Inter, he wasn't playing until Kante said, "You gotta play. If you play, you'll see the difference." And he started playing. But my point of Ericsson, what beats me up on Ericsson is our best free kick takers. All the free kick that Bale was kicking all over, was skying everything. If Ericsson was the one playing it, it would have been in the net. Ericsson was the best free kick taker. Or corner kicks. Ericsson knows how to do a target. You need a target man. He knows how to target. Ericsson played the ball to is it Van our defense?
We just lost our creative midfielder. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all.
the guy that
Right.
The thing is,
The guy put
checked out. The thing is, he checked out because he saw we weren't doing anything as well.
Right,
Yeah,
he
there
was
you
done.
go.
He was done. He wanted to leave.
He wanted to leave because
But I heard there were other rumors going on,
And that
personal
shows-
things that were going on in the club.
Well, no, and this whole thing shows how cucked we are as Spurs fans. We did this with Ericsson, and we did it with Danny Rose. These guys came out, they said there were problems at the club, or at least they said they wanted to leave the club, which should make it obvious there are problems at the club. And rather than think about it and say, I wonder why he's saying that. I wonder why he's saying these things. I wonder what's really going on inside. No, we watched the documentary produced by Amazon and accepted that as a real look into what's going on inside the club, and then stood with Levy and the board against these players who had fought on the pitch for us and given us some great moments as fans.
Right, no, I'll defend my stance on this. Fuck Ericsson. If you're getting paid by my club and you're wearing my club shirt, fucking play. I don't care if you don't want to be there. Fucking play. Then
Look,
leave
I
when you
agree
no,
with
no,
that.
no. Fuck that shit. Then you leave when you can leave. As far as Danny Rose is concerned, the best left back we ever had before he got injured. After he got injured, I'm sorry, he was not the same player, and that's the only
Being
reason I
shit
didn't
is
want
not
him
an
to play.
excuse to abuse a player because they say there are things going wrong at the club.
I didn't
That the way
abuse
the
him.
club is
I
run.
didn't abuse him for that.
I'm
I
not.
just
I didn't
agree
say
with him.
you.
The
I'm
fans,
not,
I'm
the
not
defending.
talking about.
the fans, and
But as
Levy
far as
got him out.
Ericsson, he
The
can
other
go
fans. The
fuck
other
it.
fans. Yeah.
Okay,
As
look.
far as
look,
Ericsson, though, he can go fuck
I
himself,
agree.
lazy
I
piece of shit.
agree. I'm not. I never said anything about Ericsson not playing for us. I don't excuse that.
Don't.
Regardless of whether it's my club or someone else's club, whatever, you're a professional. You're paid to play the game. Go out there and
Right.
fucking play for what you're paid for. I agree with that, man. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Spurs fans. I'm not saying you're one of them. I'm just saying there were a lot of Spurs fans out there who, when they were out in the media saying certain things, they immediately turned on them.
Yeah, they did. They turned on Danny Rose because
And this is
the thing was Danny Rose said, and I have to be honest, Danny Rose said what a lot of people were thinking. They just really got into his shit because they first of all, he went to the Sun. Okay, that was the first problem. He went to the Sun and he gave that interview to the Sun. And the thing that pissed them off was that
Which
the fact
is,
that
by
he-
the way, the Sun is the dirtiest,
Yeah,
lowliest,
I know.
scummiest newspaper in
it's
Britain.
like
Just
running
for
to
the record.
it's like running to the National Enquirer,
100%.
right, and running your mouth. So he gave the interview to the Sun. That was the first mistake. Okay, but then the second mistake was he saying they're bringing in players that I have to Google. Now everybody agreed with that. Okay, because what he said was the truth. Because the game that they've run on the fan base is that they'll mention a high profile player. Okay. Ooh, Spurs are in the running. And then
Can't hear you, bud.
you're on mute.
We lost your audio there.
I got you. Okay. So like what would
Okay.
happen is that we're in the running, and then the deal falls through. And then you ask, why did the deal fall through? Oh, well, a difference of £5 million, a difference of 10 million euros. And you're like, wait, what? And you're like, and because let's be honest, before Manchester United went and got Bruno Fernandes, we were the only ones that were going after Bruno Fernandes. We're the only ones. And then it was just like, no, we didn't. And then that whole bullshit with Dybala, with the naming right, it just seemed like they would throw names out there to get. Oh, you're like, oh shit, we about to sign Dybala. Oh, that's a good person that could go alongside Kane. And then you're like, oh, we didn't sign him because of some naming rights, some bullshit naming rights. And you're like, wait, what? You know? And then we don't bring in anybody. And no disrespect to Joe Rodon, but fuck, we wanted Skriniar, and they're like, okay, we're gonna get Skriniar. No, we went to Swansea and got their center back. And here he is, and then you don't even play. And then you knew he was fucked when he wasn't even named to the Europa League squad. He wasn't even named. Jose was like, oh, I don't want to. There's other people that played harder or who worked to get to it. I don't want to do anything to them and not include them into the freaking Europa League squad.
I was so angry that we didn't just get that. First of all, I was angry that we didn't get the deal done during the international transfer window so that we could list Rodon for Europa. And then when we finally made it through the group stage and into the knockout stage, and we had the opportunity to add him to the squad and drop one of the other deadwood motherfuckers, we didn't. And I honestly, I really wish I knew exactly what was going on with Joe Rodon and that whole saga, because none of it has made sense.
I'll tell you what was going on. He's young, and Mourinho doesn't like young players.
So what happened?
It's really that simple.
So
why was he dropping
Only
Ryan
ones
Mason?
guys who are 28 or older have been playing for years, who are going to fall in line exactly.
That
with
argument doesn't hold water because Ryan Mason came in and he had every opportunity to play Joe Rodon. There was game after game that Eric Dyer was failing at the back.
Oh, you mean Ryan Mates on? Mates on because he puts his mates on? Yeah, no, that had nothing to do with that for Ryan Mason. He was just playing his friends.
There's got to be something else going on with that. There's got to be something else.
Did you see that?
Maybe the price will go up.
Staffed with idiots who know nothing about football, who are biased because of their personal attachments to various people in the club. I think everything about how this club is run, from not just the top and Levy and all that, but in the actual training facility, is unprofessional. This whole family atmosphere doesn't mean that you treat everybody like they're your brother or sister and you give them deferential treatment because of that. I mean, at the end of the day, they're professionals. And that's the thing. It's like everybody's so ready to hold professional players accountable when they have poor performances or when they complain in the media. But then nobody's thinking about, why don't we hold the people who, like the sports scientists who are supposed to be making sure these players are fit? They're not fit. Why are we not mad at them for not doing their fucking jobs? You know, guys get hurt and they're gone for months, and we're like, "What the hell?" Well, why aren't we talking about what's wrong with the trainers? What's wrong with the medical staff? Like, it's clear that this club has problems beyond just Levy and Enoch and just the manager and just the deadwood players. It's in everything. It's seeped into every crack and crevice of the club. That's the problem.
Lads, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You guys you guys should think about this very, very truly. What I'm about to say right now. You guys should think about it very well. Poch, Jose, Ryan were never the manager. You can try to say, it's not true. It is true. They were never the manager. Levy has always been the manager. Levy have always selected certain players to play. That's the period. If you look at Eric Dyer wasn't Jose's choice to play, but that's what Levy wants because he wants them on the to go to the Euros. That's what he wants. He wants wings on the field. He wants this kind of play. He wants TVB on the field because he said he doesn't want to lose money on those players because that's what he wanted. What Jose wanted and demanded was Skriniar all along. Keep screaming Skriniar, but he won't give him that. So he doesn't have a choice. When you don't have a choice, you are boxed and somebody keep telling you, that's who I want you to play. I don't care what you do, that's who I want you to play. That's why he has to place that player over and over and over. Even we saw the player do wrong, he still have to go back and play that player because he was listening to instruction.
I'm sorry, Osman. I just don't agree.
That's what I'm saying. You might not agree.
I do not believe that Jose Mourinho would allow Daniel Levy to pressure him into playing specific players. Jose Mourinho, one of the most decorated managers in football history, and he's a known asshole, and he does what he wants. I don't believe he
I
will
know
let
you're not
Levy
gonna
do it.
agree that. That is why you remember when somebody said this time that if Kante come and do a smiley face to take the job of this manager, the same thing.
I don't want Conte because I want more shit football.
That's what I'm saying. When he comes there and smile, Levy will take advantage of you. That's why all these coaches are rejecting the job because they have this is what I want. If you can't give me what I want, I'm not coming. Because that's the thing. When you come in there, Levy will tell you what to do. Levy will tell you what to do. There is nothing you can do. If Levy said, I want you to play this player, I want you to play the player. If you look at what the other guy said, he said it text for substitution, and the substitution happened. It was a matter of texting. Did you watch the game when the text and substitution happened? That's what happened.
I'm not even gonna delve into that. That's just I'm not even going to delve into that. I'm going to give the managers their respect and say that those are the managers that pick the team, and those are the managers that did
except for Ryan Mason.
Except for Ryan Mason, yeah.
For Ryan Mason, that's a little different. But as far as Jose Mourinho and Mauricio Pochettino, no, they pick the squad. Now the issue with Conte, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the minute Conte is available, okay, and if he shows interest and you're Spurs, you're all over Conte. You get that. The reason they not all over Conte is because he's too much of a strong personality for Levy. Levy knows he can't control Conte. Conte's going to make demands, and he's not going to be happy unless he gets those demands.
Can you tell me why that Bielsa
wouldn't work?
Yeah, same, right? Exactly.
No,
same.
Can you tell me?
What did you mention Bielsa?
Can you tell me how?
Bielsa.
Can you tell me how? Can you tell me how Jose got fired? What is the reason behind why Jose got fired?
Money, and
no.
the money.
Other than that, the last thing is said there was a comment. Somebody, Kobe,
you don't
can you
know
go back
that.
to that comment? There was a comment that said, "Yes, look at that."
Right, but
That's
is
some
that a
players.
fact? Yeah, but is that
But they
a
were
fact?
because Levy wanted him to play certain player, and he said, "No, I'm not going to," and that's it. That's it. Still come back to. Even though you might do this, you might think it's a different player.
I'll
But
be honest, man. I don't buy into that at all.
No,
But, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I just don't agree with you.
I think that money was an issue. Okay, I really believe that money was an issue. They say that the results had nothing to do with. I think that they fucked up with the Super League. They was trying to somehow save face. They just completely everything. All of these things have been missteps. Everything has been missteps. Even the hiring. I said before in a previous podcast that the entire hiring of Jose Mourinho was literally because you had cameras there from Amazon. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Poch wasn't box office for Amazon. He just wasn't. He just wasn't going to give you what Jose was giving you for an Amazon docuseries. It just wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going to be that personality. It just seemed like the camera crews were like, well, we're around here filming. Oh, you guys are training. Okay. It doesn't really seem so exciting. And then all of a sudden, I just felt like Levy was like, oh, we got this camera crew here. This is great for the brand. Let's just fire Pochettino. Okay, you fire Pochettino. And then you're like, who can we bring in? Oh, Jose Mourinho's available. That's box office. Let's bring that in. We got the camera crews. Let's make this whole scene. And all of a sudden, the all or nothing Amazon docuseries was all about Mourinho.
I mean, I agree that probably played a part, but like, there's rumors that Levy had been coveting Mourinho for years.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. And the opportunity came about. The opportunity came about for him to freaking go get his freaking crush while a camera crew's there to film all of it. Okay, but like I said, the whole docuseries turned out to be about freaking Jose. The whole thing turned out to be. It was like a footnote about Poch being there. It's like like the first 3 months of the season didn't even exist. It was like, oh, Pochettino, oh, they crashed out the Champions League. They lost. Here's Poch. Things didn't go well. Boom, and here we go. It was Poch was fired, and here's Jose Mourinho, and then everything else is about Jose Mourinho. This
is why I get so mad when people say, you know, oh yeah, Levy's terrible with the football side of things, but he's a good businessman. Fuck no, he is not. None of these are good business decisions. And everything that has come from ENIC taking over the club and Tottenham getting where it was, it's It's just natural progression of what happens when some bits of money are invested in areas like a training facility and like a stadium. And they were able to get some success off the pitch. They were able to get into the Champions League with Martin Jol and Harry Redknapp and bring some money in. Like, they didn't do anything extraordinary. He never did anything extraordinary. He is barely a functional businessman because the thing he is reactive, not proactive.
Yeah, but that's a loan either. That other thing you just said is a loan. It's still hold the bank the money, so they invest.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not that Enoch invested a lot of money. It's not that Levy made any successful great deals or anything. He's never done anything that as chairman of Tottenham Hotspur that deserves people saying, "Oh, he's a good businessman." It's just I don't know.
I want Levy to be accountable for the 250 million that he spent on players. That's all.
Listen, I'm sorry. Enoch purchased Tottenham Hotspur for 23 million pounds, and Tottenham Hotspur is now worth 2.3 billion pounds. If what you're saying is true, if what you're saying is true, why has every single English club not aspired and succeeded in increasing their value 74 times over? Yeah. We have to give at least a little bit of credit where credit is due. I don't think that Levy is good for Tottenham Hotspur in the long run, but there is no lying. It is statistically factual that he has brought this club to a level that it was not on when he took over.
I disagree. You know who brought this club to the level it's on? Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp, Gareth Bale, Harry Kane coming up through the academy. Those are the people that brought it to where it is.
Hold on, football.
But the football is what makes the money. The club is self-financed.
No. Hold on. Our values in a lot of property and things like that.
Thank you, because that's what I was.
I get what you're saying, and you're saying that from the point of view of an impassioned fan. But a lot of our, to me, the value is the football, right? 100%. But in terms of the financial, like a lot of our value is in the property and property.
And direct, and to piggyback off of that, because like I keep saying, I'm not going to shit on Daniel Levy as a businessman. He's a shitty director of football. Okay, he's a complete moron when it comes to the football side of the house. But as far as making the value and growing the global brand of Tottenham Hotspur. Look where we are today. We're sitting here in fucking America talking about Spurs. Okay, that doesn't happen before. So improving the global brand. Okay, they made moves. They made plans to build that freaking stadium, one of the best football stadiums in Europe. Okay, that you don't just go to the NFL and work out some deal and say, hey, this is what we're going to build, so that you can host NFL games here instead of going to Wembley. So what they did, business-wise, I keep saying business-wise, they've done.
How do you mean? Wait, I'm sorry. How do you mean you don't just go to the NFL and do that?
You don't. Like, you don't just sit there. They drew up plans to build the stadium and say, hey, somebody came up to them with this idea and say, we can put an NFL football field underneath and then put a soccer field on top, and then you can retract this whole. We have this concept where we can pull the grass out, retract it, and then you have an NFL field ready.
It's already been done, though. Japan has several stadiums.
Sorry. Can I just intervene? Can I just intervene? Jamie here. I was born in North London, raised mostly in London. Apparently, I'm what you call a legacy fan. But I agree with what Jason's saying in regards to the business savvy and the fact that before Tottenham, only Wembley Stadium was being considered as a NFL host venue. Mm-hmm. So that decision is maybe money-based.
It is.
But it was a decision, the sort of decision that Levy has made to build the club financially. The problem being is he wants his fingers in every part of the pie, and he's screwed with the team too much.
Yep.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think it's a great. It's like some big deal that you're going to build a brand new stadium. It's going to cost a lot of money, so you want to get the most money you can out of it. So you make it multi-purpose, and one of those purposes ends up being the NFL, which is getting more and more popular and more profitable in the UK. I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. This doesn't seem like ingenuity or innovation. I don't think he's a great.
No one's saying he's innovative. What we're saying is he's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah, he took the chance. I mean,
what's the chance? It's guaranteed to pay off. There's no risk.
Kieran,
that's what I'm saying. He doesn't take risks.
Kieran, don't just hold on a minute. I've been following the Chicago Bears since about 1980. Well, before the Monsters of the Midway, before Super Bowl 20, because there was a exhibition game at Wembley, Cowboys against the Bears, and I started supporting the Bears.
I remember when that game took place.
Yeah, but it was always Wembley, and whether it be because people didn't think it was viable, whether because the London clubs didn't think that it would be a worthwhile pursuit, Levy took a chance. Now I'm not a Levy fan because he's screwed with the football side too much, but his financial acumen has enabled the football side to grow, albeit the fact that because he's stuck his oar in, the growth that could have been has been stunted by his
meddling,
omnipotence.
His meddling.
So we paint Levy as being, Dr. Evil or whatever, the evil genius, but without his acumen, we wouldn't be where we are, even if it was in a position to get screwed over by him.
I mean, you could be. I mean, it could be just because. I mean, if an Abramovich had come by and bought Spurs instead, you could be in the exact same position.
He flew over the Abramovich flew over the stadium. He was considering us,
and I understand because Tottenham is not a great area. He didn't want to own a club there. I understand. But I mean, I don't know. We don't have to keep going on this. It's fine. It's not. I don't view him as an evil genius. I don't even view him as necessarily evil. I think he's just a selfish and somewhat short-sighted person who has made a lot of bad decisions. And I think the value. I think we don't know. I don't think we don't know to what degree he is actually responsible for the valuation increasing, as in we don't know his direct role in all of the business dealings because we don't have Tottenham's books. We had, their books and records, maybe we'd know, but I just don't want to attribute things to him when he's not shown me anything from what I do know. From what I do know he's actually done business-wise. He's not shown me anything to have me put faith in him. So, I don't. That's why I'm not ready to give him credit as being a great businessman.
I don't know,
but
man.
It's fine.
Well,
we're here to talk about football.
Okay. My next question is, all right, businessman, all right, why did he invest 250 million pounds in shitty players? Right.
Well, that's got.
And why isn't he held accountable? Why isn't he held accountable for it?
Well,
right?
he should.
If any CEO of any major corporation, right, loses the kind of amount of money, where do you think he'll be?
Hold on. How much did Chelsea spend on that striker that can't hit a barn door?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're buying football, all I'm saying is
an oligarch.
When you're
he can throw as much money as he wants.
That's not the question he asked, though, is it?
We have one.
Because we don't have an oligarch. All I'm saying is when you're buying football players, there's no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
How much did they waste on that striker that can't hit a barn door with a baseball bat?
Our record is pretty bad.
No, our record is shitty, and I totally blame Levy
thing is,
his finger in there.
Asking why Levy hasn't been held accountable is like saying, why has the judge not chopped off his own head? Like, he is the one that would have to sack himself. So it's not realistic to say, oh, Levy would have just sacked himself by now. He's the judge and the juror when it comes to these decisions. It's not like the situation where you have, Levy has a manager that he doesn't like, so he sacks him. Right?
Okay.
Levy
Why
is
doesn't
the
the
boss.
board hold him
Levy is
accountable?
the boss and the owner. You tell me who is the person that's going to sack Daniel Levy?
There's only
It would
one
have to
person.
be. It would have to be Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis, yeah.
And as long as Joe Lewis is making money, which he is at Tottenham Hotspur, he doesn't give a shit about anything else. So there's your answer.
Yeah.
Well, which is why this summer is so critical for Daniel Levy. Yes. Because there were already reports that there was an offer on the table that Lewis was ready to sell, and Levy convinced him not to. Now here we are. We finished 7th. We're in the fucking Banter Cup after our crosstown rivals just lifted their 2nd Champions League trophy, and now this summer is all on the table for Levy because fuck what us fans think in terms of going against him. If he doesn't turn this shit around, Lewis is going to cut him off and sell the club because he's old as dog shit and doesn't want to lose more money. So, why sell? What they wanted to do was get it to peak value and sell. Well, we're going to lose. Our valuation is shrinking every season that we're not in the Champions League.
Is it though?
It is. Yes, absolutely it is.
Did our valuation shrink or grow last year? We weren't in
It's only been one season, Cody. Wait till Harry Kane leaves and then give it a couple seasons after that. See where our valuation's at.
Possibly.
I think more than possibly. I think that these personalities, why are we such a global brand? Because we have people like Harry Kane and Heung-min Son on our team. And if we didn't have players like that, the attention around Spurs would – God, if Son leaves, 75% of the Asian fan base that follows Spurs follow because of Son. And if he left, they'd probably just go with whatever, or at least the Korean fans specifically, would just go with whatever club Son signs with next. Now, I'm sure some of them, love Spurs now and will stay with us. But, you're going to lose a lot of money. In terms of, merchandise and jersey sales and things like that,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Right,
but that in itself is a problem as well. The fact that we've been able to, as a product and as an ownership group, the fact that they've been able to enrich themselves to the amount that they have, the fact that they've been able to grow the global brand, the amount that they have, the fact that they've been able to increase the valuation of the club to the scale that they have without winning a single thing is a terrifying prospect to me. Because as much as you can say that Heung-min Son is worth X amount on the balance sheet because of the Korean market, as long as that is a huge factor in how this club is valued, all you have to do is replace Heung-min Son with someone else that is just as popular, or if not more popular, or multiple players who will create that popularity. The motivation to actually get us over the line in terms of competition, in terms of winning an FA Cup, in terms of winning a League Cup, in terms of winning the Premier League, qualifying and winning a Champions League, it just isn't there. So I understand what you're saying.
It's perennially muted by the business interest over the football interest.
Yeah.
Ever since Irving Scholar and Sugar Times and whatnot, it's just been become. It's THFC PLC. We want our football club back. Doesn't matter how profitable it is, and I don't know whether Levy's head has got too big. I think it's the board. It's the owner. It's everything. Even the fact that the supporters trust is, from what I've got the impression, is sort of slightly coloured by Levy anyway, but in the selection and the people that are within it. Lockman was saying to me previously, the reason why clubs like Manchester United are so big in Asia is because of betting. You know, if they win trophies, they make money. If they make money, the people start wearing their shirts. So, I mean, I've been living in Manila for 6 years, and you know, I went on to the top of a mountain on a hike, and the first thing I saw was some Nigerian guy in a Arsenal shirt, and I'm like, they're everywhere.
Did you push him off?
Stupid.
Did you push him off the cliff?
No. I can't say I wasn't tempted, but I thought I've just spent 3 hours hiking up a mountain, and the first thing I see is a Guna.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see Spurs shirts all over Manila. You may say, I mean, to the point where if I've seen someone in a Spurs shirt, I've gone up to them, I've taken a photo with them because I'm like, come on, man, that's, you know. I've walked up to plenty of people wearing Arsenal shirts in supermarkets and whatnot all over Manila and said, you do know that shirt's illegal in this country. And, you know, they've smiled and whatever, you know.
Hey,
but
I've said it before, and I'm not proud of it, but I will mention it again. Living in rural Canada as a Tottenham supporter, I have never met a fellow Tottenham supporter in the flesh. The only people that I've ever met that support Tottenham has been in this medium on YouTube or over WhatsApp or on Twitter. That's the only interactions I've ever had. I have never been able to like
the
shake
Toronto
the hand.
Spurs, the Vancouver Spurs.
They're there, but I just don't don't live close enough, or I haven't had the opportunity. Trust me, now I've only just entered, believe it or not, like 12 weeks ago, this YouTube world. Guys like Brian Ireland and Brian Daigle who live in Toronto, I will meet those guys before the end of the year, that's for sure. But up until this point, I'm just saying, as global a brand as we've become, I still have never run into somebody on the street who's been like, hey, I support Tottenham too. You know what I mean?
I met a bunch of them at the Fan Fest.
Yeah, we're not. I wouldn't say that we are. We can truly say, maybe financially we're a global brand, but visibly, when I go around, well, I've been to Singapore, I've been to Japan, I live in the Philippines, and I walk around and I'm seeing Chelsea shirts, I'm seeing Man United shirts, I'm seeing more and more Man City shirts, and I'm seeing Arsenal shirts. I'm not seeing Spurs shirts.
Yeah, because they're winners.
Because they're winning.
Yeah, but even though it's stupid because you know you go to the fancy part of Manila, BGC, they have a good football store there, the Boot Camp, and you know our kit's done by Nike, but do they ever have our kit in the store? Rarely, if ever. Because, you know, I mean, I've got an away shirt, which is what they call Class A here. It's nearly official quality, but it's not official because I'm not in a position to spend the £85 for the shirt and then pretty much the same amount for the postage and duty when it comes in. You know, for me to get an official Spurs shirt in the Philippines pretty much would cost me the thick end of 150 quid, which would be like $200.
Can I ask you?
That's what it will cost to get one.
Can I ask you a question though? Like, because you said you're in Manila in the Philippines.
Yes.
What basketball teams do they support? What NBA teams do you see? Because I know they watch. I know basketball is big out there in the Philippines. So
I would say that they tend to follow. So that they have the Lakers and the Warriors are the two biggest. Then the rest of it is just wearing shirts.
Yeah,
I mean teams that win. Yeah, there you go.
So they follow teams like it was no different than when I was deployed in the '90s and the Bulls were in their pomp. Like everywhere I went.
No, they still love the Bulls. I mean, they're still wearing their 23 shirts and whatnot. And
even though Michael's been retired for damn near 20 plus years.
But I mean, it's almost. I mean, they love their basketball. Mm-hmm. They do support certain teams, but there is a little bit of pseudo-Americanism going on in their fashion statements. Mm-hmm. A lot of them will want to look like b-boys and whatnot. And no disrespect to my Filipino neighbors and everything, but I mean, when it comes to bleeding for a team, they bleed for their domestic league, and only a handful of teams from the NBA.
The winners.
Okay. Good night, Jason.
Guys.
Good night, guys.
Just a question, right?
Been emotional.
Guys, what do you think, right? All this smoke screen is going on now, right? Manager Kane leaving and all that. Have you all noticed one thing? Nobody has spoken about Son's extension in his contract.
The latest news I heard came out this past week saying that he'll sign in the summer.
Yeah. He will decide end of the season or something like that, right?
A lot of players are holding their breath to see what's happening with the mess up top, and if Kane goes, and he better not go to Chelsea, because if he goes to Chelsea, he won't quite be a Campbell. No. Well, they've just won the Champions League. They're interested in him. Levy will give it serious consideration. Man United are now changing their sights and going for Jadon Sancho. So,
I thought after the Modric thing that Levy and Abramovich won't do business together.
Money talks, man. Money talks.
120 million or whatever. I mean, all I want to see happen first is not this. Oh, we don't want Conte because he's not soft enough to manage. Because it's also about having a head coach, not a manager, a head coach, which means Levy's clearly wanting to still pull strings. We need a manager, and he needs to stick to what he's not good at, but better at, the financial side, and find some kind of gradual transition to the point where he's doing what he's good at, and our manager will be able to do what he's hired to do, which is to bring success to our football team.
Okay, so I just want to give fair warning. We're going to go about 10 more minutes. So
no, you said 3 hours, and I had commitments before, so I knew I was only going to get the tail end of this.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? I'm fine giving you the lion's share of the remaining conversation. I do want to touch on what Gogama has said here. Son has been stalling RE contract for a while. No, this is true. I mean, we thought really the first time that I can remember that there were rumors about Sonny's contract extension, that goes all the way back into maybe October, maybe as soon as the Southampton game where he scored 4 goals, and that was when it was okay. The player wants to sign the contract, the club wants to keep him. This is going to happen. It's only a matter of time. And as we've gone here, it's just, man, it just keeps going and going and going, and the disconnect keeps growing and growing. And now here we are sitting here at the end of the season. Euros are coming up here. What is going on with the Heung-min Son situation?
Well,
what are your thoughts?
I would ask the question: would you sign if you don't know what's in the direction of this team? I mean, you know that Son's going to get coveted by other teams that probably will try and win some things. So I'm not faulting him for holding out, because I want to see what the direction of this team is before I would sign that contract extension.
Absolutely.
I think I don't begrudge him for not doing anything right now. I guess it does depend on what they want. And Harry Kane says he wants to leave. It's not. It's easier said for him to say that than for it to actually happen, because he doesn't really hold any cards. He doesn't. He has 3 years left on his contract. You know what I'm saying? It's big money, and some teams could say that they won, but and whether I'm right or wrong, or whether you agree or not, there's Erling Haaland, who will have a $70 million release clause next season, who's barely 21 years old. He's in his early 20s, and the kid can flat out ball, and I don't doubt that he can't do it in the Premier League. I doubt he'll come in because he's got the body type, he's got the speed. He's not like Havertz, and he's not like freaking Werner. Werner's a little dude. I think Erling Haaland can play in the Premier League straight up and down. It's just that do you want to take a chance on Kane? And I think other teams are going to play close to the vest. They might show interest, but I don't know if they're going to chuck the money out there when you literally can just wait another season and Erling Haaland, you can go ahead and activate that release clause, and then let the bidding war go from there. I don't know. I that's just how I feel. I mean, I want Kane to stay, and I think he's going to end up staying because I don't really think he doesn't really have any leverage besides just kind of putting that information out there in the media to where they can kind of build it up to make it seem like he's a grumpy player. But he's always said that he's a consummate professional. Whether he continues to be that way next season, if he's still at White Hart Lane, it remains to be seen. Because before that, I do believe, like with the initial information about him wanting to leave and then the interview, I didn't really see the best of him. We really didn't see the best of him. Obviously, it was kind of lingering on his mind. We didn't see the best of him in the last 3 games. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's going to gem up that money to go ahead and get him. If they do, wow. I mean, do you take it? It depends on who the manager is. If they say, fine, sell him, but you got to give me X amount to go ahead and rebuild the squad, do you trust that person? And who that manager is will show the ambitions of the club. And that's why it's so hard to speculate, because you don't know who the manager is. And I guess the appointment of the manager will kind of let everybody know what the ambitions are of this team and what we want to do as a club. And that's how I feel. So it's really hard to say right now. I don't know. I don't know which way to go, because it all depends on who we bring in. And that, to me, would signify what our intentions are and what the club's ambitions are.
Okay. I just one thing.
Ahead,
I hope it's who we'll bring in rather than who Levy wants to bring in. Because if we get another yes man, we're just going to be getting repetition, more misery.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're right. And until a manager is in place, good or bad, the direction we're going to go in is still up in the air. We just need to, try not to have, a heart attack and burst a blood vessel trying to guess, and have a little patience. But I mean, all the paper talk gives us so much to speculate about that we're chasing our tails.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's going to be before or after the Euros. Once, as Jesse says, once a manager's in place, then we can see whether he's going to have leverage regards team selection, whether Kane or Son are going to then say, hey, I can get behind this guy, or whether Levy's just going to, cash, take, repeat. We obviously we need to discuss things in the interim, but we also need to bite our lip until there's a factor that shows the direction. And that factor will be sooner rather than later, I really do hope, because it's doing me no good at all, a manager in place. And I would say that the candidates are relative, because what candidate we want and what candidate Levy wants, hopefully is going to meld together and we'll get a happy medium. But at the moment, we're just going around in circles.
Okay, so let's end on this. I want to go around the panel and I want you to say, what is a reasonable price that for Harry Kane? All things considered, I want it to be your personal opinion, because I know that in the eyes of some that Harry Kane has no price. His value to the club is immeasurable. His value on the pitch is immeasurable. But what is a price that you would sell Harry Kane for, no questions asked? Doesn't matter who it is to. Let's start with Eugene. What is the cutoff for you?
150, 200.
Well, that's a pretty wide range. Can you be a little more specific?
175.
Yeah,
in the middle.
That's
around
fair
175.
Jason Reed, what do you think?
I'm on the 140, 145. I say 145.
Okay. All right, Kieran.
I think 150 would probably be the minimum, but I would I would accept a player plus cash deal if the player was right, and there was a significant amount of money on top of it to add up to at least that value.
We could do a whole show on
Plus
player
one,
deals.
plus cash.
That's for sure. Jamie Pretty, what is the price that you would accept? No questions asked.
I'm
for
not
Harry
saying
Kane?
I'd accept it. The price I would put out there, like Kieran said, 150, maybe negotiable regards. Players being part of the make weight. Realistically, if it didn't make, because we can't predict who the manager's going to be coming in, and whether if Levy just holds on to Kane, he becomes like an Eriksen again and becomes miserable as sin. We don't know. I would love to hold on to Harry, so long as the manager fell into place and what he was allowed to do lent itself to giving Harry the reason to stay. But as the longer it goes on, the less teams are going to be interested in going for him. But I would be saying 150 or negotiable with players on the basis that we want him to be sellable, but we ultimately want to, I don't know. I want to keep him, but we have to put him in the window to entice possible trades and whatnot that could be conducive based on the manager we get. So
okay, that sounds good. We're gonna end off on that note. I do want to express my gratitude to everybody that came on today to have a discussion about Tottenham and about the Champions League and the implications that it has, in particular in this Harry Kane situation. I'm gonna boot you all out.
Thank you.
And goodbye. For me, when it comes to Harry Kane, I love the man. I would have no problem keeping him whatsoever. But we have, from a business perspective, I think it's a difficult situation because you have an asset that is bound to depreciate over the next 3 or 4 years, even as much as 1 year. He's a peak value right now. If somebody came in with 150 million, I think it would provide us with necessary funds to possibly kickstart a new direction and a rebuild that's been badly needed and that we aren't really financially equipped to take on without some kind of revenue generation. So if Chelsea, if Chelsea or Man City or any club came in here with 150 million pounds for Harry Kane, I think I would have to take it personally. And I, like I said, I am one of the biggest Harry Kane backers that you could have. But the reality is we are one ankle injury away from Harry Kane being worth 50 million instead of 150 million. And those are things that need to be considered. And Harry Kane's own personal goals as a player need to be considered as well. I don't think he wants to sit through another rebuild. I don't think he wants to wait around for 3 years to see if we can get a trophy over the line. So if he's an unhappy player at this point and he wants out, I say let him go. It's a win-win for everybody. And the day that we sell Harry Kane is a day where I will be shedding tears, hopefully not in front of a camera on YouTube. But to everybody that tuned in today, I just want to express my sincere gratitude. Make sure, if you haven't already, to smash a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to bring you guys content throughout the summer. Will couldn't be here tonight. He was at a wedding, so he'll be here next time for sure. We'll be back with the Bald and Bearded Tottenham Boys show on Tuesday, and Morning THFC will be on Wednesday morning. Like, subscribe, comment, stay strong, stay Spurs. Everybody take care, be safe. We'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go now.